Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. North American stock futures in positive territory as we get April jobs report just coming out as we speak. Non-farm payrolls, we'll touch on that coming up in a second. We are expecting, or the analysts are expecting, I should say, a gain of about 1 million on the payrolls number. So we'll let you know as soon as we get that. Looks like up 266,000. Versus the consensus 1 million. So that looks like a bit of a miss as far as that number is concerned. I'll show you the actual number here coming up in a second, as I mentioned. It's a key metric monitored by the Fed when it comes to how the economy is progressing and how their rate policies should be affected. The Dow yesterday, record highs once again at the close. We had both the S&P and NASDAQ in positive territory. There's so many earnings reports to get to today. Peloton, Roku, Beyond Meat, Nikola even just reporting as well. It's Friday, May 7th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. All right, there we go. Yeah, look at North American markets here, up slightly, as I mentioned there, 0.27 for the S&P, 0.28. We're trying to get back to the upside here after this number. I'll show you in a second here. 0.32 for the NASDAQ there, the TSX, 0.36 here in Toronto. Bitcoin's higher, Ethereum as well. Here we go, just out. Yeah, they were expecting that 978,000 comes out 266,000. So a bit of a surprise on the downside, but positive follow through, it looks like, on the markets itself. 6.1 on the unemployment rate as well. Did that pop in here yet? Doesn't look like. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 6.1 versus 5.8 on there. You can see for the unemployment rate. So there we go. We'll kick things off on that note, guys, for a Friday. We were expecting this all week long. We saw the weekly number yesterday, a little better than expected as well. Off to a good start here.
We just, we just took 80 cents there on Square here on that rip. Bad news is great news for this market, Neil, as this gives them no reason now to worry about rates, no reason to do anything. The job market is a piece of crap, and the U.S. is bumping right now in the NASDAQ, guys. That's the best thing that could have ever happened to this market. So glad they missed on this number. We just take a $1 win on Square there. We're starting the day off right. Let's fire off the hot dog cannons. Let's go. They wanted 1 million. They got 200,000. That's amazing. It's amazing. Look at the NASDAQ. You just started the show, Brennan. 0.32. It's 1.5% right now. And Rip City, we already have Square. I already tweeted it out. It was my #1 trade today. Square, long, 230.50. Huge, huge quarter. There it is right there. $2 in the money in the pre-market. Let's go, Square. We're going. Let's go.
I'm happy for the market. I'm not going to be happy for a bad number there, but the truth is in there that you're not going to have any action. Everyone was afraid of a blowout number. You're talking about that million that people were throwing around there. If you got that, that would have put some serious pressure on the Fed. There's going to be a lot to get to. Ocugen, look, they reiterated some numbers and had a bit of a fall. So it's a tech moving to the upside. Just worth noting, the ES, of course, is going to be lagging in this situation. So about a percentage point difference and actually growing between the ES and the NASDAQ at the current moment. So it's going to be the tech that's in recovery. It was a good one yesterday, at least towards the end of the day, and now we're seeing some follow through. It's going to be an active one. There are some earnings we're going to have to get to, but the overall market picture looks like it's going to be the story.
Yeah, we're coming back in here as we speak. Yeah, it's trying to hold on to positive territory. 0.3 still for the S&P, but Sean was mentioning the NASDAQ much higher at this point. Let's get right into things. We'll get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. I wish you a wonderful day. Please enjoy the show and make sure to like this video. Let's get it started, Brandon.
Just seeing the 10-year. Wow, 10-year plunging, guys. 10 basis points to the downside on that number as well. Gold bumping to the upside. So, yeah, I mean, a huge miss for that number. I was actually very surprised that anyone was expecting anywhere even close to 1 million on the additions, but 288,000, 6.1 on the unemployment rate. We are still, yeah, it's coming back in here. It looks like 0.15 now for the S&P. So we'll see if we can hold on to positive territory. But I mean, so many earnings reports, guys, with this number now. Do things change a little bit as far as these reports are concerned?
Yes. Well, I mean, like you had a lot of, well, for the tech names, I think it certainly does. I mean, obviously there was a decent chance, even with this maybe not being as extreme, that you were going to get some rebound in, and I don't know, I mean, there's probably a lot of names that are going to qualify here, but I'll just sort of pick on Uber. And look, I'm not picking on Uber, I shouldn't say, but oh, thank you, Daily Chart, for not loading there. Look at the move to the downside we had, and we talked about this all day long. Uber trying to find a bit of a bottom, and I feel like because of the slight bounce that was made in the overall market, some of the most depressed names couldn't get that second leg. We saw that Microsoft looked fantastic in the afternoon, but how many names were at that still bottom range even after a bounce? Now Uber has a chance, or some of these other names have a chance to participate here. Look, it's not going to matter so much when you talk about debt and when you talk about these higher valuation names. There'll be a little bit less pressure on them, hopefully, going into today. Now, I just saw Twitter move, and of course, Sean got Square moving. Worth noting that there hasn't really been a bounce in all of these stocks, so still not a lot of volume looking particularly at an Uber here. But I do feel like this is going to be a better look for some of the tech names that didn't quite participate as much in that rally. Now, certainly it's going to be fantastic for the big boys, but let's see how far that trickles down.
Yeah, we just got out right there. Big win there for Square, like monster. So happy that we got that. We've already started our day off. We've already hit our goal there. But yeah, a big win on Square. We just took some out, 235. I mean, we might have taken it out. We took one piece out there for $1.50, and then we just took a $3.40 win, and now we'll leave the last third here. Upside on Square was my number one trade going into today, so happy. No, I mean, not super happy because we would have had more shares if this was on the open. But like Neil said, just do your homework, man. That's the thing. Like, you come in early, you sit down, you do your homework, you understand the game, you take the risk, and then bang, right up to the upside, you get rewarded right there. So the market's not even open yet, still an hour to go. We've already hit our day goal, so we're super happy with it, but we're still going to be rocking and rolling. This is a monster number for everything growth related here. This gives pause to all of that talk, in my opinion anyways. We'll see what happens, but the market's speaking for itself. That gives pause to everything now. They're not going to do, I mean, it gives us at least a couple more months, I would say, of some relaxation on this talk of rising interest rates. So I think that that's absolutely fantastic. Square right now is a $4 winner, and we're just getting started here today. So again, thank you for joining us. We have a big interview today. We're gonna be back at 3:15 as well, and we have a big watch list to go through that's coming up very, very soon. And Mark Roberts coming through. We'll talk to him. Oh yeah, and guys, by the way, there's this one cryptocurrency that I've never really heard of before, and maybe you haven't either. But what about Cardano right now? It just touched 175. Okay, yesterday I was celebrating it at 150, 160, today 175, and we started talking about this thing back in December, and I remember it was 13, 14 cents, and then that next weekend I asked Brendan about it, and he called it up, and it was 40 or 50 cents, and we were like, what the hell? And then ever since then, man, it's just been upside, upside, upside. So congratulations anybody that's followed the call on Cardano. It was just last weekend that we were buying this thing at $1 and change, right? And so now you're up to 175. Crypto is the place, guys. Get in it. I'm not going to recommend, buying at all-time highs where we are now, but if you're not in now, nothing wrong with dabbling at all of these price levels. Cardano right now, guys, that's the big banger. But Square is $4 in the money now, Brendo.
DraftKings as well. I just noticed back towards that 54 area, the market itself trying to get back towards highs. I want to show you this. Here we go, just to emphasize that move that we're talking about. 151 on the 10-year right now. Huge move to the downside. I was watching the dollar index on that as well. DXY back to the downside, which has, Canadian dollar 82.2 now for the CAD. So a lot of things moving higher. That was lower than that off of, or to start this morning, but that number has pushed it back to the upside. Let's bring in Mark Roberts here, president of Sun Lake Strategies, get his take on what this means going forward. This is a big miss here, Mark, for what everyone was expecting on this number.
Yeah, it's it's a big miss. B, the numbers, unfortunately, can be skewed one way or the other. I'm really going to be curious if you step to the sideline and wait for revision in the next month. I think you're going to see a huge revision to the upside. A 1% move is something like 300,000 jobs. So I'm going to take this a bit with a grain of salt, but the problem is you have to get people off the couch, cut the unemployment insurance levels, and get them back to work. The other side is women in the in the workforce are slow to get back because of childcare. So you've got some real problems going on that have to be rectified immediately. My guess is these numbers will be skewed back and forth until late summer.
Yeah, I was just checking on the prior month here. It looks like they revised that one as well to the upside in a big way. 770,000 on the prior number.
Right. The problem is you had a weakness in government jobs. You had negative numbers in manufacturing. It seems a little uneven at best. So I'm really going to sort of step aside. It's good that rates have dropped. It's good that the market should stay on somewhat firm footing because the Fed will still have its foot on the accelerator.
Right now, I mentioned to the guys there on this number now, because we're kind of heading back to the upside here on all markets right across the board. Not big moves yet, but the NASDAQ definitely enjoying that look. As far as these earnings are concerned that we're dealing with this morning, mostly in the tech group, how does this change things?
I would imagine you'll see bids start to solidify under if there should be early selling. Again, it's Friday. Again, people will square their books. There's been a back and forth between, we'll call it new tech and old tech. If you look at stocks like IBM versus Amazon, quite an interesting illustration. I think more of that continues.
Not a lot of follow through so far. Still 0.35 here on the ES. Is there one or two of these reports coming from either last night or this morning that kind of stood out for you individually?
Not particularly. I think a lot of it is you have perfection baked into a lot of the charts as far as where these stocks have been priced. An example yesterday was ZTS, which I'm long quite a bit, rather cheaply. It was down $7 on explosive earnings. But the problem is, like many other names, the perfection is baked in. These stocks need to re-solidify or consolidate, and they'll make another move up again.
One of the individual names kind of stood out to me as soon as I sat down this morning was this BioNTech, BNTX. It's been on a 2 or 3 day move here, coming off of news we learned after market yesterday. Both Pfizer, BNTX going to look for complete authorization from the FDA in the U.S. for this vaccine. Has this been overdone a little? I mean, it came in a long way, but a big bounce here 2 days in a row for BNTX.
Yeah, I think all of this is going to go through more volatility until the Biden administration figures out, are they going to open up the intellectual property on these? I think it's a gross error because we can't control the plants in very many of the emerging countries, and I think that will prove to be truly disastrous. I think we should just keep making the vaccine and getting it out, but opening this up, this spooked a lot of these companies, and I think you're going to be chasing your tail here for a few more days.
And I think it's important that people understand, a move like that is going to take some time. We saw Germany's Merkel out 2 days ago saying that they will not support any waiver that comes through from the World Trade Organization. So, I mean, this is not something that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, but don't forget, the conversation, the rhetoric, the headlines are what spooks traders and investors and takes stocks from 200 to 150 on exceptional volume, and then all of a sudden you're back at 200.
So, Mark, welcome here. And I hate doing this. A couple of weeks ago, I might have throw like a random conspiracy theory at you, but it just sort of feels like with that million number that people were throwing out there for the report, for the big run up, I'm showing Morgan Stanley the strength in the banks. I could show you U.S. Steel, like we could look at Freeport and some of those, we call it the inflation winners that were ramping yesterday. And then, of course, the massive pullback and then you get a miss this big. Like, you've been around a heck of a lot longer than I have, but if one was prone to these conspiracy theories, a big drop in the 10-year that you're going to have, it kind of feels like that was a perfect storm for people to have been able to profit at the top yesterday in some of the banks and some of the materials, and then get absolute steals in some of the tech names. And I'm looking over here and saying to myself, oh my God, should I have taken off some US Steel yesterday? Why did I not trim some Morgan Stanley to buy? And it's like, did they set us up?
I won't say they set you up, but everything is just getting priced to perfection. You have to stay nimble. I took quite a bit of stocks off in the last few days. Each time they make a top, I can't find enough to replace, so my cash is building. But I still believe sometime at the end of this month, early June, you'll get some decent correction in here. But so many wealth managers have so much cash, they're chasing their tails.
Yeah, well, and if that's the case, I mean, if they're still hanging on to all of that cash, you look at something like, and I'm just going to pull up Microsoft. I was looking at Morgan Stanley because that was the bank I was interested in, and you kind of say to yourself, are we actually going to see a run towards back towards like that 265 high? Like, is this going to last long enough that we'll get a push in there? And then is that something that you're going to want to trim into? Because my first gut reaction is, okay, there's still an opportunity to take off a little bit of some of those, inflationary winners, cyclical names, whatever you want to call them. And then there might be a slight little upward swing in some of these tech names. And then if you just pick the best ones, I'm not necessarily talking about buying just Fastly or anything, not to beat up on them, but in some maybe the FANG names, do you think there's a run to get back to some of these highs here? Because that was quite a drop after all blowout earnings across the board.
Yeah, I think the Fastlys and those kind of names, the Chewies, whatever, if you see what's been going on in IBM, it is just breathtaking. You've seen tremendous money coming out of these new tech names and going into the old tech. I think that's going to continue, and I'm looking to shift some funds into the old tech names on the next dip. So if I'm going to stay in tech, that's what I'm going to do. Copper is here for a while. Iron ore, I've been playing RIO and BHP. Those are the situations there. So yes, cyclicals are still here. New tech is going to be challenged by old tech, and you got to keep your stops tight.
Yeah, I'd be patient with some of that new tech. I think is going to be the way to go. Is there a name that you already said, ZTS, which we love? That's this fantastic call in the pet space. For those that didn't know, when you brought that one last time, and it's actually a pretty impressive looking chart. Just to bring it up, and we like to give the stock father some credit around here when he makes a fantastic call. And of course, ZTS was certainly one of them. It already had a bit of a breakout. First things first, I mean, is there another name that's on your radar that maybe we haven't talked about, or that the viewers aren't aware of yet, that you're seeing based on this number you're looking to add? And just in particular with a ZTS, is this if it comes anywhere back down to 165, like where would you be thinking about someone beginning a position in this particular name, because it does look like it's got some room to the top?
Well, ZTS in particular, 162, 165. If you get there, yeah, it's fabulous. I'm looking at MGA on a pullback. That's another one, but that's in the auto parts area. I'm looking at Marriott Hotels, MAR. Again, those kind of stocks should work their way back. And even Comcast, CMCSA, very much want to own that on any pullback.
Excellent. Magna, of course, we're familiar with that here. Another good one. Mark, it looks like we're off to a good start. I think we're going to have a good Friday here in the markets. Of course, best of luck trading, and have a fantastic weekend. It's always a pleasure, the Stockfather himself.
And a shout out to Mother's Day.
Yes, absolutely right. Can't miss that.
All right, guys, let's have a look at some upgrades and downgrades for Friday. A lot of action on this side of the board today. We're going to get to Roku, Datadog on the watch list as well, both on the downgrade side. Peloton down there. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of days, to say the least, for Peloton's trying to bounce here, though, in the pre-market. Viacom, CBS, If you remember yesterday, gapped up higher, trying to bounce off of earnings. Couldn't hold any of those gains. We're back in positive territory. Discovery, this AGS up here was a lot higher than that, but still in positive territory as well, guys.
Ooh, Roku with the downgrade, eh? I mean, Roku's going the other way, by the way.
Is Roku going down now? I haven't even.
No. I mean, Roku with the downgrade, they're up 11% and pressing towards the high. Now, obviously.
Those earnings, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had earnings. The downgrade is going to come. Like, that number just got released, and we had, like, another, I think, another couple of dollars here in a name like a Roku. And that's probably going to help it at least a little bit here. There was a question, what do we think about Ocugen's on our. Ocugen's on our watch list, but I guess it's worth going over. They did update their current quarter financials. Now they're expecting to report a loss that's greater than expected. I've had 4 different shorts here after missing the big time rollover, which I think your best bet was probably at about 970, and I think I'll come back to that one a little bit later. But there was this little dump when it retraced into 9. I then see this little wick here, which is kind of annoying. I had a stop bottom break, and then of course, never leave them in at 8 o'clock because you get those dark pool dumps, and that triggered me in wherever the current price happened to be, so I got some shares at 86. The worst thing you can ever do is turn a trade you don't want into an actual trade. So I actually did want to short it around 9. Instead of just getting out of these ones and then shorting it at 9, I just hung on to the ones at 86 like an idiot. I got stopped out because I had too much. But then I got the trade I wanted off of this like 920 area. I was able to get some out at 9s, got back in when it rolled to 930. I still think 970, if it does make a big time move, 970, 975 could be another short area. But for now, Ocugen, I'm playing the south side on that revision.
Yeah, we're 450 in the money right now on this Square trade, so that's a good one. But who cares? It's already done, so let's move on. Microsoft right now. We talked about that yesterday. I said that this was the biggest gift horse ever. I think, anyways, you get a solid company off, 10%, not 10, almost 10% actually. 260 down to 244. I guess that's 15 bucks on 260. So just down there, tips that 50 period moving average. And then now you're going to get, we just ripped on Softy there, came back in a little bit. We went up to 250, 254. That was 255 almost right there on that move. So coming back in now, but that's a good buy there. I like some Softy. And then we saw DraftKings and Penn, names like that I think now could be back in favor. DraftKings, I actually wrote it down, and we did see the move on DraftKings as well happen off that. I think I got the best one. Square up $5 from that level is pretty good. This is a nice one too. It's only $53, up $1 on that move. And DraftKings, on a decent report last night, looking to be up. They weren't even going to be up. So I wrote down on the list, like, stay away on here. You can see it if you find the sticky note. It's up on Twitter. But I said stay away from this one because I haven't really been trading DraftKings amazingly lately, but and I thought that the report was better than it was giving it credit for. Like, we were flat, right? Before that jobs number came out, DraftKings was flat, and now it's getting that bump up based on that. I do like what Mark was saying there, though, that they'll probably revise this higher. This might have just been one of those numbers, but Neil was talking about the banks there, and you saw JP Morgan go for a little dump. I'm still in it. I didn't sell anything yesterday, and I think you got to be diversified. These are my long-term portfolio holdings, so I really don't have any plans to sell any of this stuff today, and it is Merchandise Friday, so talk about selling something. We do have the Trader TV Live t-shirt going on today as well, and we have a great hoodie that Valeria just typed in that she feels cold. Brendan said it's 24 degrees Celsius in here, so I don't know. Maybe you got to throw on that hoodie, Miss V.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's talk about some not so long-term, well, maybe both, but what we're going to do today. Let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market this morning. So many earnings reports coming out either after market yesterday or this morning. The first one we're going to touch on here, Square. If you haven't done so already, Ms. V will help you out in the chat. If you need the link for the watch list, guys, we send it out every morning absolutely free to you before we come on at 8:30. Good report, to say the least, for Square. There was, a little bit of a, and 35, I think it was, percent of their it was 3.5 billion of their 5.06 billion revenue for the quarter came from gains specifically from Bitcoin, guys. So that's a hefty chunk.
Yeah, that's why, this is why I love the fintech space, right? PayPal was my call of 2020. I've been buying Square every single dip I could get. And now, obviously, I didn't buy it yesterday, which I should have, man. This is another one. Wow, like this one touched 217. But again, that's dangerous, right? Picking up stock ahead of earnings is dangerous. So I think today you could pick it up. More important, I mean, that's very important, obviously, Brendan, too. I mean, the crypto, but I think we all kind of knew that. Like 16 cents was expected. They got 41. Like, that's pretty monstrous. Year over year, 1,000% increase there on revenues. Like, this is just Cash App going crazy. There's lots of stuff happening with Square. I love the company. You know, just another one of those Jack Dorsey. That's why we like PaySafe. I think if you want to get into something that hasn't bumped yet, someone asked me on the chat there, give me something that's a lower price stock. PSFE, I think, has a chance here. But okay, so that's Square, big movement up. Reason why we took it, it was just battling around this 231.50 all morning. And then eventually, this is yesterday actually, once they reported, upside, back down, hits 224 again, and then absolutely takes off today. So I like the space. It was the #1 trade on the board here today. Glad we took that on the sticky notes. So big time movement. As far as upside is concerned here, we're holding out. You see yesterday's high pre-market 238, something like that. We're already this $5 in the money, but I see 238. Like, if the market wants to go today, Square just now is right at, like, this 50-period moving average is 238. So I think we can get to there. Beautiful dip buys in here. We were a buyer down here before. We didn't take it the second time. We took it the first time. And now I think we retest highs, to be honest with you. As long as this market can, keep thinking that this job number is pretty positive today, then yeah, I'm super, super excited for the potential of Square. And to me, it's the #1 trade today.
I'm all in on Square. I think it's going to be interesting. Well, this consolidation sort of changes things. I think obviously when you get that number, it's going to alter the effect of the way the market was likely to react to that news. There might have been a shot that, like other names, that we're going to get a bit of a dip, but it changes the litmus. Now money does not want to wait on the sidelines. You heard me just say, it's like, oh my goodness, do I need to sell my banks? Do I need blah blah blah, all this and that. And it's not to look. I'm half kidding with a lot of that, of course, and with that conspiracy talk. But I think you're probably buying it at just about any level. I do like, and I always look at post-market activity, and I look at that top at 231, 232. That, to me, that's going to be a gift if there is any rollover. Now that there are some gains that people might have been taking, even if they just bought in the aftermarket or bought off those lows, they look at that almost 10% that they could have got here and start thinking about pairing some off, maybe at the open. If that happens, I'm looking immediately at 232. There is a break, which is oddly enough still here. And that's going to be if it comes to this like 239, 240 area, it actually still has a break in it. I much prefer it dips, gives a dip buy, and then challenges that level. It's just a better way to enter it, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think there's a single short on Square for me today at all.
Just noting, Brian James in the chat suggesting we need green hoodies, guys. I think that's a great idea. Green for green days. Anyways, let's go to Peloton. Peloton reporting. I mean, the report itself was ho-hum, really, but during the call, they talked about what it's going to cost them. This recall on the treadmills is only going to cost them $165 million. A lot of people had suggested it was going to be a lot higher than that. So we saw the initial move after the report to the downside, but that was reversed. So Peloton, a little bit positive now here, guys.
Just a little bit. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, certainly they might have a little bit of wins from this market move. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the big deal. There's so much brand loyalty apparently that there's talk of not everyone even returning it. I tend to think, like I said time and time again, that they had to make this move. Is it late? Yes, they probably reacted a little bit late to this, and maybe they could have saved some pain. But I feel like the market is sort of talking here and saying, okay, now you've done the right thing. If you take a step back, the earnings were actually pretty solid across the board. There's some concern what happens when people get out and about. I'm not a Peloton type person myself. It is what it is. You don't need to believe in a product to understand that other people love it. And there's just certainly a lot of brand loyalty. Now, I tend to look back and say there's got to be some people that will want to be able to bail on this to put money somewhere else. And then I look at this 85 level that we tried to hold yesterday at the top. And I think that's actually going to be a little bit of support there. So I'm looking for an 85. I don't absolutely love the breakout pre-market here on a stock that has this profile. but it's $90 even. So I'd much prefer to dig in probably 2 or 3 times as much defending 85 in Peloton as opposed to just taking that breakout at 90, because you get that market move up and a lot of names are holding the highs. Peloton kind of in the middle, feeling like it wants to give that dip. So it could be a bit of a false break at 90. I think you give that one a tight stop and then you wait around for that 85 area to see if you can't get it on any weakness.
Yeah, that's pretty epic because we have the exact same ideas right now in that. So if you guys want to look here, I'll put it in the chat, the sticky note. Have a look there. I said exactly the same thing that Neil just said there. That we have this 90 break that we like, but I do think that there is a chance here that we do pull back. Look. Forget about the whole recall. That's already in. The stock's already absorbed that. You've already seen this move down here. I guess it was 2 days ago. I think it was from 100. I mean, it was already on the downslope, right? It's not a reopened stock, so it's gotten hit for that, right? But so that's already in there. So forget about that. And then you just look at the numbers today, right? Do we still put the numbers at the bottom? I think we already did it. But Peloton, monster here. Reported loss of 3 cents a share, expecting 20 cents. Company reported 1.26 billion, higher than the 1.1 billion. So, I mean, no matter what anybody thinks of their products, or if you can do the same workouts at home, or you could do a generic treadmill and or bike, it's all true. But the point of the matter is this, you can buy a cell phone that will work, right? Or you can buy an iPhone. And the thing is that Peloton is in that niche now where it's high quality, it's best of breed, and they've made, and you're gonna hear me talk about this with Beyond Meat, sort of in the other way, off them going down today. But Peloton, I like this stock. I think there's a huge upside only because of this move down, right? I mean, you have the 50 period is just looking like a ski slope here, big time movements, but we've seen these kind of drops before and then a pop back up. I believe it would have popped back up through 100, and we'd be talking about like 115, 120 right now if we didn't get that recall, right? And I think that's obvious. So we'll just wait to see here if it can get back up there. I believe it can. We talked about that yesterday in the afternoon show, that $80 level down here on Peloton, all of this consolidation was a fantastic buying opportunity. And the thing about it was you get long 80, 82, 83 yesterday, even now, 88, 89, you can get out, right? If we retest this low of 75 or this peak right here of 73. So to me, you have like $10 of downside, and then, we don't get back to highs. I mean, it was well overdone. But, do you get back to 120s? Yeah, I think so. So I think for $40 of upside, you have $10 of downside. This is one of the more attractive names right now, in my opinion, if you're going to dig into something, and you are a little, risk tolerant, to this respect.
The subscriber number as well was just absolutely monstrous for them in this quarter as well. It was 886,100 paid subscribers. That's up 94% year over year. So huge subscriber number for Peloton. I personally now know 4 people in my immediate circle that have a Peloton. So it's widely used and widely accepted. Let's bring in Arun here, have a look at the overall market to kick things off heading into the open here. Arun, what does this mean as far as the futures are concerned?
Well, yesterday was quite the move. Just the movement period from start to finish yesterday. We started off quiet and there wasn't a whole lot of expectation for yesterday, but sometimes that happens. You have no expectations, the market's flat, and then all of a sudden we get a ton of movement, and that's pretty much what we did yesterday. We just bounced around quite a bit in a wide range as well. So here we are today, and jobs numbers just came out. There's nothing good about it, but yet the market doesn't think that it's that bad. And that's the kind of situation we're in, where a bad number doesn't necessarily mean that the market's going to go down, because there's interpretations made of that number, right? Yeah, we missed on the payroll and on the unemployment rate, but at the same time, there's implications for that. And a lot of people are making projections, I assume, based on what the Fed would do if the numbers were like this, or if the numbers would continue like this. And that's the game that's being played right now. But we are still underneath that 42.15 level I've been giving since last week. So for the time being, I'm very curious to see how we open. And at the same time, I'm very open to taking a low risk short, given that we're only a few points away from that stop. So the risk reward ratio for any shorts right now would be stellar if that works out. So if it doesn't work out, say we break the 42.15s, well, at that point, you just really have to let it go, let the market discover the new area that it's going to be going into. And you really can't do a whole lot. The NASDAQ's already up just over just under 1.25%. ES is a third, just over a third, or at a third percent. Huge difference there. You'll notice that means the tech is outrunning the rest of the market right now. So it's a tech run for the most part. But at the same time, I would just like to see how the market's going to digest this jobs report number at the open. Are we going to use this as bad number as a good thing, or is the bad number going to be a bad thing? And sometimes, you know what, that switches. It's a cyclical thing, and it just switches all the time, depending on what kind of climate we're in. And right now, it does look like bad is good. So we'll go with that, and we'll see how this plays out at the open, especially, because that will tell you how this market or this day will go on from here on out.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again on Monday. Let's continue along, guys, with what is moving around in the pre-market. Roku up next. Another one that we tend to only look at Roku for some reason during earnings season or after there's a report. Another one solidly higher this morning. They easily beat as well. I mean, benefited from the pandemic, I guess. A lot more people looking for things to stream and ways to stream them while sitting at home. So Roku to the upside here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a floor manager. I was like, man, that Roku was an unreal 300 break. It's as clean as it gets, and it gave you a second shot to the downside yesterday at the morning, right at 9:35. And then he's like, yeah, but Roku's on my no-fly list. This stock, it definitely can be tricky and dirty, is I guess the word most people like to use, just because of the spread and the nature of the way it trades. But it's undeniable that there's still some room. If you look at that flush out, when you get a flush out like this, you look at that previous support and just absolutely panic cratering into a cluster like that 270 that you do see here, and then this kind of rebound. There is some room if it holds that 300. Now, because Roku is a little bit, and I said the word dirty, so I'm going to stick with it. Because it's a little bit dirty, I want to make sure I'm getting a good price in here. No breakouts on Roku. That's rule number one for me. I'm only looking to defend two. If I have two reasons for a level, I like it even better. So I look at the aftermarket top at 305, 306, and 305, 306, and I look at the pre-market low there. It'd need to drop down for me to want to pick up Roku on the long side for the day trade, unfortunately. And it doesn't mean we don't trade it, but it means you pick your spots carefully. There's so many good tech names today that I like a heck of a lot better. Like maybe Tesla 666 will come into play pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been all about that 330. I mean, Neil, no breakouts now, I don't think. I mean, that move was big there. We did have this breakout. We are loving this 313 right here, only back to the fourth. May it be with you. Down here, 313. So we were looking at that break, and that's what we had marked down, of course, on the sticky note. But the point is that now you're up to 315. So I was all about taking that 313. Of course, we did take instead Square, which was fine, which was great. But yeah, you do have this 313 level here. Back to 313 would be kind of cool. But now we have to play it. Like I was saying, back to 305. But again, when we make the sticky note, guys, like we're down here at 308, 309. So that 313 break is absolutely monstrous. It takes you all the way to 318. But just notice where we stopped, right? And I think that's something that we have to pay attention to on Roku. We stopped here at 317, 317.50. So it's already up that 11%. And just because the stock is up 11% doesn't mean it can't go a hell of a lot higher than that. It can, and it's Roku, so it will probably. But you got to try to be a little diligent. That was just straight up. As you can see, every pullback basically met by buyers. So for this one, yeah, I think you got to wait a little bit here until the open just to see if you do get retracements now. So forget about 305. That would have been nice. I think now if you can get something like, 310-ish might be a good look on Roku. But again, like, look, the NASDAQ made that huge bump up, right? And now you're coming back to the downside. I already said this before. Mark brought up a great point there on the revisions. So let's be careful that this is not something that you may or may not hold here today for the NASDAQ. But it's fantastic news. I think the NASDAQ goes higher. I do still think we take out the day's high at some point on the NASDAQ. So I like Roku, but any little dip buys here is what I would be looking for. But I'd be much rather look for a dip buy in Softy or Apple or something like that.
All right, let's continue along. Beyond Meat, also another one reporting, unfortunately, not good on the earnings side of things for Beyond, a wider than expected quarterly loss. They also guided lower for the remainder of the year for BYND. It's interesting because, you know, throughout this quarter, we saw numerous times them talking about expanding into new markets, expanding into different areas of the globe. But in doing so, they incurred much higher expenses, guys.
Yeah, the other thing when you talk about expanding into new markets, they have to worry about Tyson Foods as well, jumping into their game as well. And that's the reality. You're going to get increased competition for them, and that could push them a little bit lower. There is this level here, and I'm looking at like 107 on the dime if you go back into November. And obviously we had look, there was a flush out yesterday, and that got us down to like 106. I'm still sort of eyeballing the 107 level a little bit better. If we crash through there, I'd definitely be looking at a short and Beyond Meat. I think if it picks up at least a little bit, there is this like 112 where the players dwell, or where maybe like the sell into some strength could be the name of the game, guys. So I'm on the south side of Beyond Meat today. I think there's going to be some better longs to be had. The increased competition and the disappointment is a little bit too much to overcome if you're going to buy. I feel like there's better things to buy. Even though, look, you're obviously getting a discount. So I guess if you believe in the stock, fine. But why not wait for 100?
Yeah, I don't know about, I mean, I marked it down today, the 111. I mean, that November sticks out like, you know, so easy there for that 107, 108. So we're right there. So you break that. You could get some downward movement. I don't want to, I'm definitely not going short Beyond Meat today. But I mean, look at this. I like this 111 area. It was sort of the bottom of this move before, obviously, you know, now we're lower than that. But this 111, 111, 20, something like that, I marked it down as like a bigger level. But again, like, you know, this is the thing about Beyond Meat here. If it wanted to go, it should have already gone on this move, right? So Beyond Meat, in my opinion, should have already gone. Like, we get that NASDAQ bump there. If it really wanted to go, it should have already gone there. So I'm not in love with this 111 anymore. But as I said before, very, very similar to Peloton here, you're getting a screaming deal right now in Beyond Meat. It's the first mover. We've seen that over and over again, how important that is. They, you know, the Tyson Foods is coming out with that Impossible Burger. It's already out, but again, full of GMOs. There's tons of stuff there. I don't think it will, you know, really impact Beyond Meat sales, to believe it or not. There's plenty of room for both of these names. And why I think this is a reopen play is, you know, like when we were allowed to go, and I guess in the United States you guys are already sort of reopened, but I remember going and you would see Beyond Meat on menus and things like that, right? So you're eating out more, you're going out, it's already it's 100,000 outlets worldwide for this product. So I just think the more people start, you know, socializing again, having these barbecues, and again, we are a little bit outdated here in Canada because we can't even leave our house yet. So that's not happening, but I just think Beyond Meat is a possible reopen play here. And then as people start to think more about the environment and what's good and things like that, look, I'm like a beef eater, right? So, but I just think that Beyond Meat does have a lot of tailwinds here that can prop this stock up. So I'm probably going to step in and start buying some today. And I think it's a great opportunity, down 10%, to get a nice little, you know, back capital gains here on this stock. Obviously, there's no dividend, but I think you get back to this 130, 135 pretty soon.
All right, let's go to DraftKings next. Another positive report. Big beat for DraftKings revenue, $312 million. That's up 253% over year. The company also raising its full year fiscal guidance, guys. Is there anything else that we could add to the list?
You raise guidance is what I love about that. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, DraftKings, if you want to talk about certainly getting a bit of a deal, anything in front of 50 looks like a solid deal for DraftKings. You know, we tend to, you know what, we tend to always talk about DraftKings and not Penn, and maybe that's, I think that's just usually to do with the fact that DraftKings is in the news all the time. But look, I'm gonna step into this one today. A lot of times we'll stay away from the day trading DraftKings, but it's going to be a little bit too hard to ignore this one. If we get anything, and I'm sort of looking at this level here. When you look back a couple of sessions ago, you had this 53 even, and then you get pre-market, we're sort of hanging around, fell off that 53, then you get that nice jobs number. So knowing what DraftKings usually does, that's the dip I want to play off of. Not going to take this 50. I guess before break, we've already touched like 55 in pre-market. I'm looking at that 53 area for a first dip into DraftKings on today's action. I do think it probably runs into resistance at 56, 56.50, not because it fell there, but because you've had all kinds of support before these, in the last couple of weeks or so off of 56. So I would expect that any kind of a breakout is going to slow down at that 56 level. But I like the long in DraftKings today. We'll see how that day trade does go. I don't like taking DraftKings pre-market, so I'm likely to hold off. If it falls like 50 pennies right now with 15 minutes to go, I'd probably back off of it and then wait till 9:30. That's just one of the rules I have for DraftKings.
Yeah, I've made that rule on DraftKings like years ago, I think, even though it wasn't around. I don't trade this name that well unless there is some kind of a break and you can hit it really quickly. It's not that I don't trade it well. I just don't think it trades very well, period. It's hard to look at yesterday. We had so many D prints here off and on. So, but okay, back here, I wrote it down today and I just wrote down with a smiley face on here. Look what I wrote right in the middle there. Staying away. It's right where my fingers are at the bottom. Staying away from DKNG today. It already made that move up there. What I was going to look at was, these levels here, 52.75, 52.50 in this area right here. And then that was a good spot, but it's already taken off. It made that 54.20 spot there. I like Penn. And the thing is, it's a popular name. I got DMs last night from friends of mine saying, what are we going to do with Penn? When's the last time you saw this thing in the 80s? And they're right. I mean, Penn's had a nice monster move upside there into 140, right back down here. And then yesterday it crushes 90, drops down to 80 flat there. I mean, look at this level there. I mean, this is probably why they're asking me back down here. And I didn't do the due diligence to go back this far, but $80 right there. Plus, this is the thing, like, Neil's talking about DraftKings into 50. It's very similar. Like, you do have this wall sort of support down here, this floor. So we'll see. Like, if you want to take a dip now, a shot in any of these names, I think it's here. I think there's a good opportunity to buy some of these names on these dips, especially Penn, because Penn has casino exposure, right? So you do have, people going back to casinos as well. But the number one trade here today looks like it's going to be this one, guys. Kicking off right here for me, kicking off here square, right back to day's high. This is now $5 in the money. We talked about taking this early. I put the trade, like normally I don't take it early, but we like the level so much. It's the double star. It's our biggest level of the day. We take it, we have it, and now it's $5 in the money, and we're ripping here on Square. So I love this name. Before I give it back to you, Brendan, let me just check out PaySafe quickly here. So this one is going to. This is not going. We know PaySafe is in trouble until May 11th when they report, which is next week. But yeah, I'm looking at PaySafe today too, breaking 13, guys.
All right, let's go to the cannabis world next. A few people talking about Tilray. I noticed this morning. Datadog on the list as well as an earnings name, up significantly, but not really doing anything at this point. But nice report for DDOG if anyone is eyeing that one. There's no real significant news here as far as Tilray is concerned. It was Jefferies that upgraded. It was a double upgrade from underperform to buy on Tilray. So, I mean, we talked about the Afria thing. That's done. That's in the past now. But this is a big move for Tilray here.
Yeah, it's awfully range bound in this pre-market, which, look, it's not going to actually probably care too much about that move in the market, obviously. But the top of the range is what would sort of concern me, because I just sort of look at that 1550. And this was, look, it was a big seller off the open yesterday. So you look at that 1550 to 1560 and the multiple tests that it's put on that range. It does lend itself for a breakout at that price. It probably makes a little bit more sense to at least consider a long in front of the 15 as well if you're on the bullish side of that trade. I don't look. I mean, Tilray's never been one that I've been too heavy on the trading for in terms of that pre-market action or getting into and holding any kind of a short. But it is also set up that if you look at that 1560 break, if that's an immediate failure, you could have one of those like quick retracement, get back in at like 50 and then look to take it towards this 1510, 1550 where it's holding. That's more of a snap reaction to a fail at 930 to break through 1560. But I would stay away from shorting this otherwise. You probably won't see me in the short, even though that setup does exist. I tend to trade that sundial a heck of a lot more often than a Tilray here. And I'd be very, very careful if you wanted to short this name, because that setup on the 1560 break looks like it could rip some, break some necks, I should say.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably accurate. So I'm just going to go long ahead of 15. If it breaks 15, we'll be gone. So worth a shot here on the Square, still bumping now, almost $6 in the money on that trade. Here it comes down. We will take a tester here. And maybe it's a little bit too early. I don't know. How far can this thing fall? I'm going to go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to cancel this bid right now. We'll take it. I mean, if we can get maybe 15 exactly and then give it down to like 14.90 or a little bit ahead of 15, I guess. Give it back down to 14.90. I mean, I think it's just getting bumped up because of what's been happening the last couple of days. I mean, some of these marijuana stocks, including CGC, all of them down, right? And so this could just be a retracement back to the upside here. But I mean, I said it the other day. Remember, I think it was when Afria took this over, or they took over Afria on the merger, there was opportunities to go short, right? And we talked about that. All good news here in cannabis space seems to be shorted, just giving people reasons to get out of their longs. So I still think you need to wait for these like watershed moments when something comes out and all of a sudden you come in one day and Tilray's up, go Square. Tilray's up that 14, 15, 16%, something like that. And then you can yourself start taking some profit. So I'm going to wait for Tilray to come in a little bit. It's coming. I may right now just take a little bit of a dip, but like we're $6, like we're 6 plus now in the money. Come on, Square, let's load up. Like Square right now, 238. This Square 238 level, guys, by the way, is this 50-period moving average. We could now go to 246.50, something like that on this move. So let's wait to see what Square does. But for Tilray, I like a long here at 15 and then get out if it breaks too much lower than that.
All right, let's talk about Twitter here real quick. No significant news on Twitter, but another one looking really positive here in the pre-market. We saw that headline that came out late in the day yesterday talking about a tip jar. So they're going to add a tip jar to certain accounts to start and then expand on that. So you'll see it in the profile that you'll be able to start tipping people on Twitter, including in their Spaces app. But here we go. Yeah, 1.8% here. I mean, 55 kind of screaming in the face here for Twitter, just above.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had a different plan of action. Look, a lot of things are going to get thrown to the wind here when you had that move in the NASDAQ in the overall market when that jobs number came out here. But I look at 54.60 as well and sort of see, you look at that 55 break and it's like, okay, you have an easy shot to give it that 40 pennies. I think if you like that sort of quick action, if the break doesn't go, you're not going to give it all the way back $1. I like that play on a breakout. So, I got the 55 locked and ready to go here, but I do want to make sure it holds above 54.60 on the open. And Twitter's just finding ways to monetize. And at the end of the day, they have to do things like this because, YouTube and Twitch have figured this out. And late to the game, sure, but there's still a lot of room to recover here for Twitter. I mean, it's a nice little cluster setup for a recovery even if it's a muted one, you can get you can get like a 10% move before you get into some resistance. So 55, I hate saying like no brainer or easy. It stands out there. It's hard not to take a breakout like that on Twitter. Only I do look at that high in the aftermarket at 60s and say, I don't want to give too far past that. I'll take out that trade if it breaks back down and then look for another reentry. I'm only looking for the longs today on Twitter. So if I get stopped out for a 40-cent loss, I'll just look to get back in lower.
Yeah, so that was easy there on Tilray. So we just take a smooth 10 cents right there off of half. I just got out of half. Like I told you, I wasn't in love with this trade, but when we go long there, you can see it's on the board right now, long Tilray 1507, out literally at 17s there. So we actually got rebates in and rebates out. So we get paid to take this trade and we get the gross on that one as well. So today, needless to say, we are now more than 1 times our goal there. And yeah, so it's been to the moon with some of these stocks, but watch out, man. The NASDAQ is trying to pull back a little bit here. That move probably overdone. And yeah, good talk on Twitter. I still want to go long on that name at some point. Twitter was one of the buys that I did make back in the pandemic craze. And actually, I wish I would have bought something else, to be honest with you. My long on Twitter is 25 or 20. I think it's 25, maybe it's 28, something like that. Yeah, so you can see back here in March where, yeah, there it is, 22. So yeah, so it must be 25. So I have a 25 peg here on Twitter, so I'm already long that name there. And I'm not too worried because I'm so in the money, but it seems silly not to get some of that out when that goes up to 80. So we'll see if Twitter can battle back right now. I like this break right here. Where are we at now? 54.80. So this 56 break, we've covered that the last couple of days. If you remember, I think it was a couple of days ago that we had 56 as the breaking high, but it turned out just to be the high of of the day. So we'll see if it can hit the 56 again. It tried to get there. It got to 55. So I'm excited for Twitter breaking some tops today. I think that's a name you need to get long. Wow, Square. So right now, man, everything, I don't know what just happened there, but everything just got bumped up. Square just takes that out. This is a $7 win right now on Square. So yeah, we're super happy with this win today. $7. Did we say 7, Brendan? We meant 8. So there goes Square, guys. The #1 trade on the sticky note today. So there it is. I hope you guys can subscribe to the sticky note. It's absolutely free, just like our watch list, guys. Let's go.
Wait for 20 more seconds. It'll probably be 10. Let's talk about ORGS, one of the little ones moving to the upside this morning. This thing has just been absolutely crushed over the past couple of months, popping up on a little bit of positive news this morning. But 550, it's testing right now. So support 550. If it does break that, we probably test the lows. But 6 up here and then 650 gets you into some of these levels from back on the daily chart. So on ORGS, 650 to the top, I think. But needs some more volume, I feel. Not really doing a lot, guys.
Yeah, and this one is doing a lot. Timber, Ocugen just broke 8. There was an iceberg order at 8 even. I'm like, you know what? I'll take that out. It's like 925. If it gets a pop off the open, I want to be able to play in this one with sort of a fresh look. But you know, from the top, that's going to be like 930 into $8, and continuing to flush to the downside. Ocugen getting absolutely crushed. LEDS, guys, leads. This was one from yesterday's action. I was looking at a 9 even break. All morning long. I'm like, yeah, look at it test, look at it test. This one could come off. It's sort of hanging out to the downside. Now I look at the afternoon range at 1050, 1060, and then now the lower high here around 10. I'm going to take the first shot at it. I just got like 995 there, which it screamed into this move. So I don't want to average in this last 5 minutes going into the open because it absolutely screamed into this, but did get triggered when it hit this level, or when it sort of touched this level at 10 even. LEDS was as high as 1350. This was a $5 stock at the beginning of the day yesterday. So there is room to run in both directions. So tread awfully lightly when trading this. We didn't have locates yesterday. We got them today.
That's a good point there by Sterling Silver. Yeah, look, I'm not. You hear me talking right now about Square, right? So I don't necessarily recommend. I mean, you could do whatever you want. It's at 240. We already have a 10. Brendan, you said $10. Congratulations on that one, Brendan, because yes, sir, it is. And someone else said that Sean's gonna be doing a lot of backflips today. I think that's already 2 or 3 there for that as it goes to 240.50 right now. $9 now in the money on this beauty. So yeah, monster win. And you're right, Sterling, you got to watch out for this now. We're blowing to the upside right now, right? And so when you're looking at a chart here, I said 246 could come into play. I still do believe in that, but that would be monstrous if that happens. So let's not even look at a daily chart. It's too much. Square right here on a 20 because there's just, we don't really know where this could go, but this is what I'm looking at right now, this 240, 250. So I don't need anybody going long like crazy. Tilray also, guys, nicely in the money right now as we'll find another. This is probably one of my all-time favorites here, this Weed Batman. So we still do have that 240, 250 level right now on Square. So you got to watch out for that. It was the bottom there, it was the bottom here. And if we break it, yeah, that's where we get to that 246. We got to watch out for 240, 250. Nothing wrong right now with even taking this out this winter, right? So that's not a horrible idea. So we're going to do that. If it can get up to that 240, 250, something like that, we'll try to take it out. But right now, Square, and no reason to to be hasty with this one. I think it still has tons of room to go to the upside, but we'll see. But be very, very careful, guys. There are bigger fish out there that haven't moved yet, like a NEO or Microsoft, things like that. So Square already up 7%. Be very, very cautious.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic return. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Pleading caution makes a lot of sense. Nicola, there was just a quick note out here. SEC asked about projected cash flow, capital raise plan. It did flush into $10, but has since come at least a little bit back. Now, they were up more than this on the earnings, of course, and then there was that little move to the downside, about 70 pennies or so, that held 10 even. I said I might hurt myself shorting some Nicola today. I was looking at this level all morning long, 1070, and backed away from it when we had that big move to the upside in the future. So I'm right back at looking at this 1070. If they want to buy this one into the open, I'm looking for Nicola into that 1070 range to the short side. That leads went in the money for me, and I didn't take take it. So I do have to, I don't know, I guess I already looked the gift horse in the mouth. It wasn't necessarily far enough given the amount of volatility that it had. It just touched 980s there, but it's still that 10 area short, and got to watch out for that 930 ramp. It could be a bump up in some of the, I guess, smaller cap names, and then maybe some selling off in the big caps. That's what tends to happen when you get these big moves.
Yeah, I like AMD too through 79.20 here. We could get in a little bit of a break here on AMD if we break to the upside. A nice little retracement long today. People talking about Palantir on the chat. No surprise there. Yeah, we talked about it being a bumped up there from 20 yesterday, so that's a good little look for Palantir. And a quick look here, Nokia, big buys, nothing else really on the imbalance locator. AMC with a buy as well. So here we go, guys. Only 20 seconds to go. We're going to watch Palantir, but we are now. I mean, Square continues to make that run, guys. No real targets to that upside. Let's see how far Square can go with only 10 seconds to go here. Let's go.
Yeah, the countdown is on to end the week. There's Miss V. We're at 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's end it with a bang. It's already started again.
And we're open. Let's wait to see now what happens here. I'm still watching this Beyond Meat. We'll see how far this one wants to go. Who knows? I still have that. Again, that's a Palantir chart. I'm watching the level 2 here. I still like that 111 break, but yeah, to the downside could come soon here on Beyond Meat, guys. Tilray bouncing around as well.
And we'll do a bit of a backflip. Leads right off the bat. It takes out 77s. It takes out 60s. It's snapping right back to the upside. So might be able to rinse and repeat if it's going to give me a short off those 10s once again. But look, there is room. If this breaks this level here, that 1015, there's another one up at that 1070. So far, one and done. Tesla ripped right through that 666. So I'm going to wait for a bigger dip there. We anticipated there could be a dip in tech. Tesla heading to the downside. And Load up. Just looking at that 660 to 657 area to the downside, maybe looking for the dip buy there. If it holds and retraces that magical 666, I guess that's an odd number, then I'll be looking at that as well. But for now, looking to buy that dip.
Yeah, okay, so we actually just took a little, small, not huge, break here on Palantir. We have to average in now because, oops, I'm still on Beyond Meat. Okay, so Beyond Meat going upside there. We'll see if that one wants to go or not. Still, position dependent there. Here's Palantir. I was trying to get longer there in the 50s, in the low 40s and missed that trade. But now that's starting to go up to the upside there. So we crack out a little bit of profit there on Palantir in 50, out 58 there. Still more room to run on this one. Let's go Palantir. Hopefully to the upside.
Oh my goodness, Roku is absolutely insane. Leads, I just got another out at 942, so we'll get to take a 50-cent win. Whatever, that's been a fantastic one. But this IBIO rejected $2 here in the pre-market. I know you guys are watching this. That's got to be not the greatest sign in the world. Of course, it's been a steady climb. I'm not turning bear unless this breaks below that 180 or makes a real test at 2 once again. So it's on the radar for sure, but I'm not seeing anything there just yet unless it gets below that 180. Tesla's getting into that range where I do want to see if I can't buy the dip. Just hit that 660 mark, low of the day at 655. So first chance will be about 661.
Okay, guys, this is what's just happening today. It's just one of these days where you can throw the bangs everywhere because AMD, a nice little long here, that's 20 cents in the money. Palantir, we just took that out, 65s. Good trade there, guys. Tilray, 30 cents now in the money, coming up to that day's high. I think we might as well get out of some Tilray right here. And then Square comes all the way back down. Let's try to load back up there. So we do get another piece of Square now. Average price 234. Let's go, guys. What a monster day this is turning out to be. Come on, Tilray. Let's go. You're at that 1560 level. I'm going to take this out, guys. Another 50-cent win for your boy. Let's go. Tucked on Cannon time over here, Neil. Let's go.
Yeah, Peloton triggered here. It did break that 90, but only very, very briefly. Looks like it's still trying to get some juice to it. The market's pulling back in the midst of that little run to the upside. So, I mean, I got the trigger. I like for a tighter stop on that break because if you're bullish on something and it makes a failed break, I like the dip buy, and we'll be watching 88 there. So it's about, I mean, it went like 20 cents out of the money, so it's nothing too crazy. You want to plan for the worst. If it breaks 89s, I'm out. Tesla also made that entry point for me, so we'll get to that when I talked about that 660 level. Able to get some there at 661.22s. If it comes right back into, and this is yesterday's close, 663.50. If it comes into that range, I'll certainly look to take some out for a couple of bucks, then see if you can't get back up to that magical or ominous 666. Brendan?
Impressive move to start for Roku, guys. 320 up to 339, pulling back, but almost 20% so far for Roku, guys.
Yeah, that was about as easy as it gets, man. We talked about that 313 break. It just happens too early for me, and we don't get it. So, okay, so average into square there. This average, so we took a 236 there. That goes all the way to 238, and we don't do anything about it. Look at the market coming back down. We're still going to identify this 231, right? So this could come all the way back down. There's no doubt about that. We talked about it. Thank you to Sterling for letting me talk a little bit about that upside there and showing people that that 242 was staring everybody in the face. So that 242 now looks to be pretty spot on. I'm going to get averaged in. I'm going to take some more shares here again. Palantir, though, nice. Boom. Yes, sir. Another reload of Palantir downside. Bang, bang, bang. Right back to the upside there on PLTR. So things working out well, man. We did get out of our Tilray, which seems to have been a mistake. But look at this. In, bang, bang, bang. Weed Batman strikes again, Brendo.
Monster volume, guys, coming into Beyond Meat. It held 107 there on that initial dip. But look at the volume at the open. Huge. On the buy side, back to 109 here for BYND.
It's as if
yeah,
they're
big move
listening.
there. I'm going to go to a couple first. LEDS, we're in the money about $1, and then it broke that 9. I liked the 9 break, so instead of taking it off for that $1 move, I actually added to the position. It's kind of two separate trades, and we talked about both of them here. So you're going to see my average price be $9.11. That's just because I hung on to some of the shares that were up there from that $10 short. Into Peloton, of course, we talked about that 90 break. I scalped some out in front of 90.50s. It's now, I mean, it's been range bound at the top here. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I didn't see it pull back in 89.60. That's probably a dark pool print. We had a lot of those, so try to read your charts and your level 2s a little bit better, more so than some of these wicks. I look at this 90 and think there could be a bit of a dip buy. It held at 91, at least for now, so let's look for a 91 break before I actually consider taking the rest of these shares off. Tesla, I mean, I don't know, it's gotten the money a couple of bucks, but it hasn't really, oh, sorry, my apologies. I got to hit that one. We'll do the old school because Tesla did hit. That's on me, guys. It actually hit that first target, that cluster that I talked about for a couple of bucks. Now we'll see if it can hold the break of that 666, which you know I like that level. Peloton just dipped in. And did I get the reload on Peloton? Yeah, it looks like I got the reload on Peloton in front of 90.
Guys, this is just turning out to be quite the day here. Palantir just continues to make moves to the upside. Whoever said we're going to be doing a hell of a lot of backflips, man, yeah, you are 100% right. We just continue to destroy this market. What's up, B?
Another one bouncing today after 2 big moves to the downside. Fastly here, FSLY reported 2 days ago aftermarket. We got the flush yesterday, continuation, but up nicely on volume for this one as well.
Yeah, look, you talk about those beat-up names, and you have to pay attention to them because there was so much room for them to run. One of those was Twitter, obviously. There's no 55 break. You can kind of see that clear as day. It's dipped down into 54. At this particular point, I'm going to look to see if I can't buy the dip. If it's going to participate in the move, I want a piece of the pie here when it comes to Twitter. Tesla's now through that 666. You know I like that number. That's where I'd like to put a trail if it gets back below it. Of course, Twitter's going to run away from me. So, I mean, I was trying to get on that dip, and now Twitter looks like it is making the run. So if it breaks 655, we'll be into it. At this point, if we can't hold 666 on Tesla, I'm going to go with a trail through there just to lock in that $5 on this name. If you're asking why that's a number, I don't make up the levels that happen on Twitter, on Tesla, like 420, like the 87s and 66s. So it's a nice one on the long side. If it gets to 675, I'll definitely be out in front of the pre-market highs. If I can take like $10 to $14, be very, very pleased with that return.
Guys, I mean, spin it. I mean, look, you talked about the tip jar. I'll never ask for tips, guys. But if you are trading today and you're using some of these levels, Beyond Meat, I told you, like, I wanted to buy this stock. I told you this was a good thing, guys. I told you we wouldn't be shorting Beyond Meat. And there it is. Like, that's a $4. Like, we're long at 111. Bang, we take out $1.50. And now we'll wait for this 14.25 big time move to the upside. Check out Square, too. Hello. Long here, 231. Out. Reload that up again. Out right there. So beautiful. Now we're 2 times daily goal. We just keep going to the upside. Oh, yeah, and thank you guys for the reminder. I don't really need it on Palantir for a reminder, but look at this. We like it here at 2050. And Neil, we like it again so much that we load up again at 2041. So now you're seeing this in the money 30 cents. Was in the money 30 cents on the upside. Now it's in the money 20 cents. And Beyond Meat coming back down, maybe, but we still have that high of 114.50. Maybe we put that order there and just clean this all up, guys. Big time trading over here. Really happy with the way this day is going. Beyond Meat for the win today, it looks like. I mean, everything's for the win. $10 on Square is pretty good. But Beyond Meat now coming back in. We're going to get out if it breaks back down through 12.50 and just take another $1.
Yeah, and a bit of a turn on Twitter here at Tesla at 670. How do I even get those two mixed up because they both start with T? If it can hold this 666, that'll actually be a good sign. I'll probably take it out in front of 70s. I'm on the north side of it right now. But if it bounced off 66, I'll likely take it out in 669 range just to be able to rinse and repeat. That's not the only name we have to that long side, of course. That Peloton now testing again. So I mean, it's having some trouble getting through that 71. It was a failed break through 91. So I do take some out here at the 75 range. Still holding on to that 90.11 long. It's about $1 in the money and continuing to run. So longs in both of those. LEDS, though, that's heading the other way. Now, of course, it's already moved $1 to the downside. But I did take that breakdown short at 9 even. This trade, of course, is heading to the upside. I got to watch out for this 920 area. If it breaks through, you don't want to turn a good trade into a losing one. So far, we haven't had one, but I'll knock on some wood. And I also just got Nikola, which I said in the afternoon show, Nikola earnings, I could find my way into hurting myself trying to short it, but we'll see what happens. Brendo?
I don't know why, but this eyes and ears stock always, both of them always moving in the same direction at the same time. Yesterday we mentioned eyes, guys. Today, yeah, it's ears. 25% just broke that 360. They updated an allergy treatment trial that they were working on, but nice move here on volume for ears today.
Okay, yeah, 114.40 there. We're just going to get out of Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat went up. Oh, we just triggered out. Oh, damn it. Okay, that's fine. Another $1 win there. More hot dogs coming. These are Beyond Meat hot dogs, guys, so you don't have to worry about that. No animals hurt in the making of this animation. There it is, a beautiful trade upside, man. We are just rocking here. We're going to go we're going to go 5 for 5. So if you're a dragon, you just got slayed today, guys. And whoever, again, was talking about this being a big day today, you are 100% right. What a great trade that was for me here on Beyond Meat 111. The two number one stocks here on my list. Look what ones have the stars beside them, guys. Like, I dare anybody to put out a list like this and then have the success. Show me another one here that's people do this every single day for you. There it is, Beyond Meat and Square, both bangers, guys. So I dare anybody to put out a list like this, and I want you guys to, so I can see your levels. I keep asking for levels. Let's share, guys. Let's share here if we can. If there's any stocks you guys like, DM me, put them in my, tweet them at me, add to the sticky note. That's what I like to do. I like to put this Trader TV Live into a sticky note type of thing because it's just so damn popular. Look at this one on AMD as well, guys. The pins lined up for this. It came back in. So we took a 78 long. I mean, that was pretty easy. Wow, Square also, look at it. That's a 50-cent win. So right now, like, we're not counting dimes here, guys. This is 78.30 up to 78.50. That's 2 dimes. And then there's a 5 dimes right there on the backside of that one. And then we also have loaded back into Square. And now we're $2 in the money on this name here, Square. We're actually waiting to get out right now, just above this. If this takes a little bit higher, we're going to be out another piece, another $2 winner on Square. So there it is. Bang, right there again. Let's go, guys. This is the kind of day that we're having. Shout out to Shakib. Shout out to you, Daryl. Shout out to Sterling Silver. Shout out to Marlon. Anybody that's rocking today, guys, congratulations. What a monster day.
Yeah, I'm going to take that 670. I'll reiterate the same thing. It's been a fantastic day, and those longs have been, I'm not saying anything is easy, but the secondary move, you get that flush, you look to buy those dips. The plan of action was in there in Tesla. Now I get that 670, so we're going to take a $9 winner there. I'm out of the trade. I'll look for a dip buy if I get it. Peloton, on the other hand, it's still trying to get through 92. I took some off in front of 91s, double dipped it here when it gave you that 90 entry as well. If it can't break through 92s, I want to have a bit of a trail idea at this point. If it breaks 91.50, I'm just going to have to get out of it for the $1.50. Well, $1.40 win, depending on what the slippage is. So Peloton, not a bad trade here. I still think there might be some room for some more, but we'll see. Actually, nope, there it goes. I just trailed out to $1.40 on the Peloton. I'm now just short Nikola, and then just got into Twitter, of course, on that dip. Berendo?
Recent high flyer here, RHE at it again today, 44% already, straight to the upside. This thing was doing nothing in the pre-market. As soon as the market opens, we're just ripping here to 22 for RHE. Not seeing anything significant as far as news, guys. This thing got to 26.5 the other day, if you remember.
All right, guys. I mean, yeah, I'm typing away here. I'm like just enamored with the way this day is going, guys. We only have 2 positions on right now, and they're just monsters. Like this Palantir trade, I don't understand why I didn't load back up. It's because I got these fills here, and my orders now, there's another out there. My orders were a little lower there on Palantir. Yesterday, you saw 193 fills on Palantir. It's not going to be like that today because we've already made our day now. So now I think we're still going to go. We're still going to trade. I mean, I'm still here, but you know, I'm going to go a little lighter now on this Friday. Big move up. We talked about the market retracing back down here a little bit. I don't need to get caught up in anything. So again, congratulations to everybody today. We're still rolling with this square here. I mean, like bang, $10 winner. Bang here. We picked that 236, out 238. We picked this 234, out 237. And right now we're still rocking with the 234. So let's see if this can get going now. I still think there's a lot more upside here to this name. I put a pay safe break in. I guess that's not moving. We're just gonna have to wait. Oh, what? Why didn't that? I should have got long already on pay safe through 13. So I'm gonna find out what happened there. I thought we had a bid going through 13, but I must have not put that in because it was the pre-market. So wow, there goes another $4 winner on Square, Miss V.
Hey, Sean, some traders in the chat talk about NIO. Stock made a nice move to the upside right now. What do you think about that?
NIO, I actually haven't looked at it, of course. I'm in an electric car name, and it is to the short side on well, obviously on Nikola. You guys know all about that. But I'll have a quick look at NIO. Now, there's so many things that I think were long plays today. This was probably set up for a bit of a dip buy, but you know it didn't come in for me. I had other things that I like. I actually just got some Twitter. I like the fact that it's going to hold VWAP here, but I know how NIO can be tricky, and I would kind of wait around to see if it doesn't give you a bit of a bigger flush out through like 36.85. I actually have to go over to Twitter because that was crazy. Like a second ago, that was weird. Like, yeah, like Twitter hit just like I got this little dip in front of the low of the day, and then it just spiked up to 54.50. I'm long at 30s, and next thing I know, it's right back in the 24 range. So there's a lot of wild movement happening in Twitter right now that I have to pay attention to. I like the dip buy. I want to see it participate in this move as well. I'm short in Nikola. That is no reflection whatsoever on the EV space. It's just I tend to think on any kind of strength it's worth a short. So I got the 74. NIO, I'd probably wait for below VWAP to pick some up, having already missed what usually is the best move, that big time dip buy off the open.
Yep. Well, we talk about that dip buy all of the time. I was just looking at Square here. Like I really want to hold on to this name, but again, like I just wondering, like, do we just capture this profit? Like, it's just been such a big day that do I even want to give it? It's a small spot, so I don't even really know why I'm worried about it. But you know, just looking back here on the 20 period, 236.85 is the moving average there. The 3-minute moving average, you can see we have up here VWAP and a 3-minute moving average. So the VWAP would be back down here, 234, and the 3-minute moving average is 236.80. This is on a 3-minute chart, not a 20, of course. So you do have, and this is on a 1. It's right here at 236.50. But I don't want to get out. Like most people, you know, you're in the money $3. You're like, that's good enough. But we've already seen Square run. So I'm going to give this one back to here. Like if it breaks 233, man, we can afford a $1.50 hit on Square. So let's see if it goes back to 233 today. We'll get out if it breaks down, you know, basically right here. That's going to be worth it for me. Here it comes screaming back down. Let's just wait to see what Square wants to do. But 233 and change, it will be a hit. There's no doubt about that, but definitely one that I'm comfortable with. Back to 233 on Square. We did average again on Palantir. We took a 233 there, 2033, sorry, and got out at 40, and now we're just going to rock with it until it breaks down below here, 2020, guys, on Palantir. Man, this is a big day.
And yeah, this is going to be, look, remember, this is a losing trade on LEDS. No matter what it shows, how much I'm up on the stock, it's like the last trade was the breakdown of 9. I did take it here. I still had some left over from 10, so that amount is going to be a winner of like 70 cents, but then we do lose 20 pennies on that LEDS. To watch it only flush back in, I'm going to stay to the south side of the trade because it's now flushed through that 9 even. Anywhere close to like 9 to 9.25, I'm looking for a re-entry. So it is what it is. I probably had too tight of a stop on that short, but I've seen that stock squeeze before, and I didn't want to get too caught up in that move. I want to show the chart of Nikola at least. If we're going to talk about it, I should at least show it to you guys. It tried to break, and I was holding off. I'm like, wait, be patient. If you like 11, Neil, you want to make sure it's actually going to give you that look. So it goes right up to 11, turns around, get some more shares into it. That'll be like that final last stand. And if I take one shot at Nikola and sort of fail on this 11 short, I probably shouldn't go back to it. I actually said in the afternoon show, someone should slap me if I lose 3 times on 3 separate shorts at Nikola, and I kind of stick to that. Twitter, if only because that weird action I saw a couple of minutes ago, where it got it, looked like it was in the money, it was sort of steadily holding 25 cents in the money, and then it slammed back to break even. I'm going to take some out when it gives me that look back to 450. I'll hold the rest until like that 60 mark we talked about pre-market, and then we're looking at that 55. All flat in front of 55 because I want a 55 break on Twitter. You could be adding the shares at that point, but I want to be flat and then looking for a separate trade. So Twitter for so far so good, but not moving the way the rest of some of these tech names have gone. It's a winner, but not as big as I'd expected.
Yeah, Twitter's had some problems recently, obviously, with that monster dip. Like it went to $80 2 months ago, guys. Okay. I said I wouldn't do 192 executions on Palantir today, but we've already done 25, and it's just another buy downside there. I'm going to hold the rest of this now. Let's see if we can't get back into 2060. We're 5 for 5 today. AMD, monster win, guys, here on AMD. Monster win on Beyond Meat as well. Could have been a lot better. I mean, it was a monster if you took out the top. Square, we don't need to talk about that one. And then Tilray, honestly, guys, Tilray, 1505 taken right in front of you. When we were talking about it, it came to me at 920. I said, I'm going long Tilray. I punched the bid right in front of everybody, and then there it is right to the upside. We even talked about this 1560. I got out ahead of 1560, but really that 1560 was a huge long. Let's look at it come back in now, though. I said, remember I said, Brendan, 12 or 13% up on Tilray probably means people start taking profit. Let's see if that happens. Maybe it's a short here on TLRY.
Speaking of cannabis land, here's Cron as well. I just saw it being dragged along with that move by Tilray. Nice move so far. This thing was actually down quite a bit in the pre-market here, but straight to the upside for Cron as well.
Yeah, some strength definitely coming back into the sector. I just want to look at this IBIO for a quick second. I know a lot of people who are watching this off the open. I was looking to see if it could test that $2 again. It never happened. Sometimes you get that pop at 930, and given what it had shown me, I was anticipating that, bump up, retest 2s. I'll be laughing it can make that move, and I'll try and get it at 95s. It just never, there was just never any buying. It is holding here for now with that 160. I'm bearish when I see a move like that. I'm in here if it gets like 175 to 180. There's a ridiculous amount of liquidity here, but I'll patiently wait around VWAP to see if I can't catch a bit of a fill.
Money there?
I don't want to jinx it, but there's a chance Nikola's trying to roll over. I mean, and by chance, I say it's starting to slide back in. I'm not taking anything out. I'm not taking anything out to the cracks VWAP, and then I want some in that 1030 range. I'll try to hold into 10 even. That was a hard bounce that it had in the pre-market off 10, so I feel like taking almost everything out in front of it makes a lot of sense. All I got is that Nikola, and then Twitter, which is still sort of resisting that move. We talked a little bit about DraftKings. It seems like it settled itself out, but I should have had, look, I got a little bit distracted. There's no way I shouldn't have had this. I don't like putting orders in on DraftKings and letting it just slap me in. I want to have that look at that open to see if you can't catch that bounce. I did miss it when it came back through 52. It's now giving a chance to hold this 52 range. The market's still looking pretty strong to me, so I'll plop a bid here. If it can hold that 52 a second time, I'll jump on the bid in front of it and then see what happens. But I might have already missed that opportunity in DraftKings. I'm kind of hoping we didn't, but it is what it is. That Twitter now still, well, I'm gonna jinx this one here because it just touched VWAP, and I'm like, oh, here we go. We're up at that 50. I wanted to break 60 before we go. Come on, Twitter, do that thing that you do. It's been a spicy meatball, and it feels like it's geared up to go. But if this can't break in the next couple of minutes, I do fear that we could be retesting that 54 where we're put to that decision.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I mean, Twitter is Twitter reminds me a lot of Uber. Like, it can go up, and then all of a sudden you blink and you're down or up $1 on names like that. So yeah, let's go, Colin, right there. Let's go with all the S's there. Where was it? There it is. Let's go. Oh, it's more O's, not more S's. Sorry, I used more S's there. Let's go here on PLTR. Let's see, man. What a good pickup that was. And again, we're just getting out here at VWAP. And now, I said we wouldn't get out, but I did. Now we're still holding about half of this position now. So now I think we can wait. This square is still tipping back and forth right now. So we are waiting on square to do something as well. But Brendan's going to give us another name that I'm going to look at.
Market 0.5% now. Nike, guys, having a nice day. Adidas reported over in Germany. Better than expected report for Adidas. So 3.5% here. Nike straight to the upside.
Okay,
that's a
I
great
said
look.
we'd talk about that, so let's go over and talk about Nike right now. Random name here, but yeah, wow. Good move off the open. Would have loved to catch that. We did see the Nike report before. We talked about what a good buy that was at 120, and now you're seeing Nike. That's right down here. It was 125 off this miss there. They said they had some Chinese worries. I was saying no worries there at all, and Nike with a nice one. I'm long Nike. I did buy it on this dip, so I'm long Nike down here. I don't have any retail exposure, so that was a good one there. I should have got into like Macy's and things like that, but Nike with a nice move up, so that's why I wanted to look at it, but we are breaking back above right now. It just took out its 50-period moving average, so giddy up on some Nike longs. I think mine's 128 or so on that dip. We talked about that with Mark Roberts. He preferred Lululemon, but Nike right now with a nice move to the upside as Square 250. We're 5 for 5 and just chilling right now, guys. Square's 250 in the money, and there's a dime piece right now on Palantir, guys.
So I did get that position, so fingers crossed. Well, I don't know. I'll go fingers crossed because that's a little more reasonable. For DraftKings, it's one of those frustrating, whatever. It's one of those frustrating day trades at times here. But I just picked it up quarters, 52 quarters. Let's see if it can't get above VWAP. Maybe test this like 52.80 top that it's had. If I can scalp 50 cents off, always take profit in DraftKings when I see it. Otherwise, it's always been a bad thing when I try to hold for the home run. I still think there's room to get back to 54, but not banking at least a little bit of something if it gives me a bounce would be criminal. Brendo.
Random micro cap of the day goes to In Suites Hospitality Trust. Looks like a REIT going crazy here. 70%. It's already halted a couple of times. Caution, guys, on this one. 22 million on the market cap. The free float is 2.9 million shares. Guys.
What? Sorry, symbol again, please.
IHT.
IHT? Oh, it's Amex.
IHT. Okay, IHT.
Yeah, it's Amex.
Not IHT. I misheard it. What was it? Oh, Amex. Okay. NYSE American. The reason why instantly, the minute that I hear that that float number there, yeah, then you get these kind of moves, and that really what is exciting. So, okay, but yeah, halt central. So good. Thank you so much for that one, Brendan. I don't trade halted stocks very well because I like to take breakouts and then we go in the money like $1, and then it halts and then it retraces and whatnot. So I'm going to stay away from this one. But there it goes, Brendo. Big runner here. Obviously, Brendan got this to us up 79%. What's up? That's a good year. 464 on a break here. I'm gonna try it. So 464 break here on IHT.
Don't even act like for a second like I didn't catch that 79 comment there, Sean. Like that's
you to.
That's a good year.
Yes, sir.
Sean's always he's always trying to give away ages around here, so thank you very much. But it is what it is. Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm over.
Neil, you've been trading for 19 years.
It is obvious.
You've stated that. Yeah.
But hey, well, wait a minute. We had a trader on the floor who was in high school still, so
Yep.
it is entirely possible, even though I didn't start that early.
It's possible you're under 40. It's possible.
No, it's not.
All right, there it is.
But here, you know what I'm happy about, and it is what it is. I'm gonna go gates of hell to you, Nicola. And of course, for now, DraftKings in the money. But Nicola does finally break back below that 1060. And I've been caught doing this before, where you get that like entry area, and I'm like, okay, I like 1070 as an entry. I like 11 even as an out. And then if you start a position at 1060, your back is against the wall because the only way you're going to get an average price at that 70 range is to wait until it actually tests higher. So I'm sitting there, can't take anything. It gets at 1085. Now we're headed southbound. Hopefully Twitter can go upside. DraftKings is in the money, but Nicola rollover on the move to the downside, guys.
There it is again, guys. IHT Bandit hits again right there. 470, guys. Out at a $5 right there. So now we hold a third left only. So nice move there on IHT. It tests 5 and then stops. And that's exactly where we got at. We were waiting at 499 there. So nice little out there on a IHT. So let's see. I mean, this thing could easily fall back. We'll get out of the rest here if it does break back below 440-ish. We'll give it to VWAP. It is going to break back down. So that's just a matter of time. So Palantir does come out there. We talked about this trade. We got in and we got out a couple times. We were trying to defend this level, so it's not a big position there, but Palantir give profits back for sure on that move down to breaks through 25. We can't support Palantir all the time. We've done that over and over again, and it's got hit, right? We saw Palantir. It has a lot of legs at the downside, so I think that was well worth getting out. Obviously, when I look back, it's right back to where we got in, but if you did have that 25 out there, you're out on Palantir. I would suggest, guys, possibly just taking Palantir out for right now. If you still are long and you just took my last long and you can get back to flat, I think that's well worth the risk there, or well worth the profits. Give some back and get out now on Palantir. That market was a nice run up. Palantir had its run, and just from the moves yesterday, I'm not as bullish on Palantir as you may think I am. So I'm out of Palantir now. We took that. Now we'll move on from Palantir, guys. Happening now. There's lots. What's up, Bren?
Indeed, yeah, 10 o'clock. Let's have a look at what is happening now. Things moving higher. That's definitely what's happening now. Led by the NASDAQ. Nice to see a nice bounce back in the NASDAQ, both composite and 100, 0.8% to the upside. The Russell small caps moving higher as well, 0.7% for the Russell. The TSX here in Toronto, 0.6%. You can see the S&P still holding on to 0.42 right now, but definitely lagging along with the Dow, only 0.2 as well. For the Dow. So the Dow, S&P, the laggards today, whereas we saw the NASDAQ, the laggards for the rest of the week. Roku, a couple of things we were talking about in the pre-market. Roku trying to hold higher here after a nice move off the open still. Monster volume in Roku, and not on the watch list, guys, but GoPro. GoPro reported aftermarket. You can see positive, just breaking $12 there. GoPro all the way back to 12, guys.
There's too many of them. There's so much moving here, guys. I know people are asking, like, Tilray, is that good for the short? No, it just didn't really scream into the 16 level. It sort of screamed up towards this 1575, and then it's been consolidating and been very, very whippy into that move. And it has had a couple of cracks at it and failing. That's not normally the sort of parabolic push-up that I like to see, but it's not a horrible idea. I mean, I'm kind of looking at myself and talking myself into giving a little bit of a shot in front of that 16, but you got to give it at least to that high of the day. I'd almost prefer it test and break, which it's trying to do right now. Maybe catch something at like a 4 or 5 after it may potentially fails at 16.10, and then get into it that way. But it's not a super strong move. The volume is abating a little bit, which does lend itself to a bit of a short. DraftKings, look. Gotta practice what you preach. While I'm watching Tilray here, I just took some DraftKings out for a 40-cent win. If I'm not scalping some profit on that when it's troubling, usually for the day trade, then I'm kind of being a fool. You have to adjust to your circumstances, and hitting the home runs on DraftKings has never been my biggest forte, even though I like that area. There's Tilray trying to come back into the downside right there. You just saw it go up to that 08. Did fail a little bit. I just got down to 02s. I'll take another entry. I'm only giving it to the high of the day because I don't necessarily love the way that it approached this level. But I'll take a shot at it. If it wants to roll over here, we'll definitely give it a shot. And there goes Twitter. So it is what it is. My one losing stock of the day is Twitter, because Twitter does what Twitter does. You said it's frustrating, Sean. I don't get it. All the other longs worked except for Twitter so far today. So maybe it's got another shot at it, but I'm in Tilray, Nikola, and DraftKings. Those are now my 3 positions, and see if Tilray rolls over from here. Brendo?
Now a 3-day move for WW. We talked about this yesterday, the day before as well. Earnings earlier in the week, 6% again today. We're coming up to recent highs here. This level is 3730-ish. So just above us here, straight to the upside again for WW.
Okay, we're just going to get out of IHT now. It's not doing anything, so I don't really like it, because right now, though, I mean, it's fine. Big win for us on that name. Spin it!
Money,
I mean, this Square, guys, like, are we epic today on this stock or what? Like, take that initial break, bang, 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 upside, retraces back in, bang, comes back in there, and we're still holding a piece. So this is now another $5 winner for us on Square today. So from $231.50 all the way up to $241.50, $10 in the money there. And then now we're celebrating a little bit of a move up, but look at that. It stops at the same spot again. So maybe we're being a little too greedy here and not taking out a $6 winner here on Square, as it stopped at the exact same high again of 240. So I'm still going to hold it. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to give this back. If it comes back in, I'll get out. And we already talked about this 233. But look, man, that was a top. So I think we got to maybe adjust this just a little bit here on Square because, I don't want to. Again, I'd feel really bad, like $6 in the money to losing $2. That's not how I roll. So I'm way too conservative to do that. So we're not going to do that today on Square. So I'm going to find another level. But today, actually, though, very, very happy with holding on to some of these. Let's go. We got those diamond hands today, baby. Square ripping to the high side. We're having our best day of the week. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for 8. So we'll put that, or 7 for 7. We'll put that in our pipe and smoke some of that good here on the show for you guys. Big time wins today. We're super happy.
Don't smoke too much of that good because I'm short on Tilray there, guys.
We're
So
smoking a lot of that.
Don't drive the demand up while I'm in the short side. No, it obviously doesn't matter. Just sort of playing around here. I want to get back to Ocugen if I can. I know it had the big move, but so far that 8 has proved to be a bit of a bottom. There was one breakthrough at 8 even, got to 780. But look at this rejection here, and this is kind of random. It's like 845, a bit of a double top forming on Ocugen. So I'd watch out for it. It is setting up for a potential break back above that 845 level. So I've only been short on Ocugen, but I kind of look at that and say to myself, it's worth a long break at 845. If it can't get through, make a fail. If I get long and it immediately fails, I might turn back into the bearish side. But we've already done the short on Ocugen, and I want to look at that potential breakout. It's just been so beaten up. Now look at the last couple of sessions here, that if it does make that push, I think there's at least a decent chance you can get a nice little scalp trade. Tilray, basically flat. Nikola, the other short that we're in, you don't need the daily chart for that. Bounces down to like 1050, tries VWAP again. I'm not getting any more shares into the short unless it's back up here in front of 11. I'm looking for about 1030 to 1035 for my next exit point. If it consolidates here, not a bad place for it to do so below that 1070 mark, which would be a good sign for the short. I'm hanging on. I need more. DraftKings, on the other hand, good thing I scalped because it's testing 52s. That thing never seems to follow through. Brendo?
Here's another one with a multi-day move. Big 5 Sports. We talked about this BGFV a couple of days ago. I think it was this day it had earnings, but ran into earnings. So all-time highs again here this morning, up at 30 there for BGFV. Anyone who picked up that one a couple of days ago, loving it.
Wow, yeah, we were actually talking about that one, and we weren't even really doing much with it there. Yeah, this is IHT. Thanks, guys. I just saw that breaking the high of the day. Again, another big stock for me today. IHT out at 99, then out at flat there, just in case it did retrace back. But yeah, congratulations anybody that took the trade, or took the trade that I gave, which was the high break. But I mean, a lot of you probably in a lot lower there. That was sort of an easy one on that break. It was only up 79%, only up 79%. So we take that one, and now it just continues to run. So this was out of 2/3 there for that big win, and then out of the last third for flat there. So a nice little win to the upside this one goes. And I just tweeted out oh, by the way, I hope you guys, if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek yet, that's a great show. Shout out to Canada on this one. They're winning all of the awards. And Square, I'm obsessed with you there. So, great show if you haven't seen it on Netflix. It's a good binge watch there. Eugene Levy, I mean, can I say any more? And that's his son, Daniel Levy. I mean, these guys are absolutely fire. I don't like Moira too much in that one, but they're winning tons of awards. Okay, so this is why I'm obsessed with Square, because it's, it's just cash money. Fooled you, eh, Rob? I got you at least on that one there. Yeah, it's a cash money millionaire trade today. 241 upside. Oh, did anybody see what Jake Paul did to Floyd Mayweather? This is going to be, I know Floyd Mayweather's fighting Logan Paul, but if you haven't seen what Jake Paul did to him, man, wow. It's amazing, and I can't believe this is what boxing's turned out to be, but hey, man, it's all about Floyd Money Mayweather, and that's why we talk about that.
I wouldn't call that boxing. That's all I will say. That guy in boxing,
Yeah, I mean, Jake Paul's knocking people out, and we'll see what happens when he fights a boxer, right?
Yeah, exactly. When he fights a real boxer, we'll see what happens to him.
Well, there's no real boxer stepping up, so we'll wait to see. Ben Askren, people thought he had a chance, but that was embarrassing for Ben Askren. But Ben Askren is an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
He takes the fight because he wants the cash. He must not be watching Trader TV Live. Shout out to Ben Askren.
Yeah, I want to just to go back over to Tesla, finding some resistance, guys. It never really gave me that really good rip to the downside. We got 60s before, and it's not 61s before, so maybe it's being greedy, thinking we can get a better price on it. But the market just continues to make some fresh highs. It's a 675 top here. which does give itself or lend itself at least to a breakthrough of that 675 area, which is getting very, very close. So the next trade in Tesla might actually have to be a break instead of a pullback. DraftKings somehow, DKNG, has not stopped me out. I said it's a good thing I scalped because it was testing that low. For the time being, it's still holding up a little bit. It's looking rather weak, though the market is strong. And this is what happens with DraftKings. You try to take some out. I was fortunate enough to be able to get this out. When it spiked up, I said, forget about it. I'll just take it out manually. And then if it gets this break, I'll hold the rest through like 52.80, see if we can't get back up to 53.5. Maybe there's $1.25 in it after that latest failed flush. So DraftKings, it ain't over yet. And Nikola, back up to that 1070. If it gets to 80s to 85, that's where I would look to get some shares back into it. I want to be on the south side of the trade. I don't have any long ideas for Nikola, even though it is up 5% in the day. I guess my bias in Nikola is rather transparent.
Yeah, I've been hammering negatively all of the EV names, and I feel like with good talk because Fisker, a lot of these names, man, I've already called it. This space here, the EV space, is basically the new cannabis space where you get a lot of hype into the the opening of these companies, SPACs turning into symbols, so on and so forth. And then now people are just going to be left holding the bag. And I'm one of them. I mean, I have a lot of these EV names, including XL Fleet. Remember that one day I was like, oh, we're going long at 870. I actually remember the day. It was right here. And we gave this trade to everybody in the pre-market. I'm not able to get out because I can't trade while we're on the show here in our own personal accounts, but up to 1075 there on that day. And then ever since then, it's just been a slow grind to the backside there. And I think I got logged 661 or something to get an average price of 780, something. So I still need this to go back to the upside. Not a great trade. XL Fleet, I mean, how many are there? There's Churchill Capital. There's a lot of them. You're talking about Nikola right now. And Nikola with report today. So, that one's probably the one to watch. 1078. I've traded Nikola quite well on the show. So we can definitely have a look at that. But this is not the right chart for me as, again, I'm obsessed. We talked about Schitt's Creek there. This square still at the high side and just breaking backs right now. If you don't like the sheet, that's fine. But square right there in the middle, huge quarter. The number one trade for me today, square, long 231.50. It's not a dime here, it's a rack. It's up $10 right now, big time trade. Not only that, not only is it up $10 off this initial trade, but we love it so much that we go bang, bang again to hit this back to the upside. So I don't think there's any doubt about this. Square, if we were doing trade of the day, Maggie, Square would definitely be there. And what a big one this is. I mean, you could go to Tilray as well, guys. We talked about Tilray. Look at that bottom on Tilray. And there it goes. Not only did we like Tilray, but look at the other level that we liked that we ignored. 16 flat right there on the bottom. So we start the show, and it's not like you couldn't have had this. I started talking about Tilray and was flat, guys. So a big move up in Tilray. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day, guys. Let's just keep the party going, Mr. Wickens.
Heads up for anyone watching Nikola this morning. Just noted the call actually started at 9:30, but it looks like it's still going on because a couple of headlines just coming out on Nikola. They're talking about they still have a shortage of chips. We all know that. Everyone does. Touch screens as well, but they are planning on sticking to their production schedules. So Nikola is still kind of chopping around here, having a nice day though, up 5%, guys.
Yeah, it is certainly, but a lot of other car makers have been talking about rolling back some of those extra features there. I want to get to Tom R. asked about a 15,000 share spoof on level 2 of Uber. Now, if you could tell me, I haven't seen it yet, and I had level 2 up here a little bit, but to show you guys, I haven't seen it. If you let me know what price that's actually at, we'll keep an eye out for it, but I haven't seen anything too crazy over on Uber, although I was just looking at this one for a bit of a dip buy down around that 47.50 area. This is another one that's been beaten up, I think, too much here. I'm not just saying that because I own it. It's at like 54 where I started my position, so it's still way out of the money. But I like this chance to get back into VWAP and participate in this little bit of a run to the upside. It would be a little bit of a, look, it's still a reopen play as well, so there's some exposure to that. And of course, did I just miss why did my Tesla not trigger? 675 broke on Tesla. I'll have to check to see why I didn't get that fill.
Yeah, oh, and I checked out my PaySafe, Phil, and I did throw the order out for PaySafe, but it was only 5 cents aggressive. I crossed it up to 13.05. on PaySafe, guys. So we should have had a monster winner here. Not a monster. We probably would have got them out at these quarters. So it would have been 20 cents or so on that one. But PaySafe, we talked about that early. And I don't know, it must have been real. Or let me zoom in a little bit here. Because, yeah, see, so this was... Yeah, no chance. Like right at 9:34 here, this break up, this is 1 minute. So it looks like it must have busted to about 10s or so and never came back in. My order went to 05. And I think you can learn something from some of this talk at least, guys, is that, you know, you're not going to always get the exact price. And I do think that, you know, if you are looking to get into something that you really do like, it is worth paying up a little bit. It's kind of like this square trade. Like my average, like my price here is 234.71. Like I didn't wait for this exact bottom, you know, and right here too, like 236.18 is my price there. So it's like, I'm not waiting for these exact prices. Sometimes you got to sort of step out on a limb and take the trade against you a little bit in order to be in, right? And I think that that's something that we all try to learn a little bit here. I'm going to get out if this breaks back down below 240. And then guys, just celebrate a $5 win on Square. We'd let it go to the upside. I think enough is enough now. The highest is only 241.70. So let's just put this in our pocket. Like I said, we're infinitely higher than we've been all week here. So I'm super, super happy. What a great day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 7. Hard to complain on that one. So let's walk on water.
Or whatever that stuff is. I mean, I still love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, we keep trying to give a name to it there. 675, I didn't get the break. It actually comes right back in. Now, I didn't really see whether it's a hard reversal literally at 80 or that's just a dark pool print that came in. But I got the long in front of it. We got 31s to the long side on Tesla. So new entry point here. I want to come over that Ocugen. This is so weak. OCGN is just getting absolutely like watershed. It looks like it's trending back towards that 780. If it can't hold this, I'm actually even thinking about shorting a breakdown. But my first look will be if it bounces off 80, try and catch an 8 even break to the upside. And just I've been looking for a chance to snap back into a long. I have an order at 845. If it holds 780, I'll look for an 8 retrace. Tesla basically flat. It's not doing a heck of a lot there. And I want to show you guys Twitter because, of course, you know, Twitter, the frustrating one of the day. And obviously there's always going to be the one that got away. Yeah, there's the bottom wick. We show you guys the winners. We show you guys the losers. I like the long on Twitter. I scalped a little bit out. It then just barely ticks below that low of the pre-market and then snaps back to the upside. So the frustration mounts when it comes to Twitter. DraftKings still in the money though, however, somehow. Brendo, what's up?
Another one from the retail group moving today. Revolve Group, which is RVLV, an online retailer, up 15% here after earnings last night. Beat expectations, seems like a bit of a trend today, but coming up to $60 here for RVLV. That is all-time highs, guys.
And you're right there, Timor, there about, yeah, shout out, guys. Shout out. What's up, Timor? Tiomir, sorry. There. Good trading on Tilray. And yeah, hell yeah on Tilray, guys. Big move to the upside. I mean, this is now $1.50 in the money. But again, like, this is why I do this sticky note. And this is why I think the morning show is so important that you guys tune in at 8:30. Because if not, you know, you don't have to take the outs that we always take, obviously, as, holy shoot, Palantir just nuts right now to the upside. Wow. But yeah, congratulations, guys. Anybody long the cannabis space there, good on you guys. And yeah, as I said, man, you know, celebrate some of those profits. Not necessarily doing that. I don't recommend doing that, but especially, as Neil said, while you're trading, but to each their own. Palantir, guys, we tried it. You know, now we're right back up. We thought we'd get back to here. Unfortunately, this always does happen to me here on Palantir every day. Neil talked about getting that wick on Twitter. There it is on Palantir as well. So sometimes when the market falls and you're as disciplined as we are, you have to follow your rules. We did get back in and scalped 5 cents, but looking back at it, obviously should have been held there. PLTR, as same as TW. Someone saying also, like, what's up with Rocket? Like, we talked about this, man. We talked about this not even too long ago off that earnings. That Rocket basically had 2 choices, right? And one was that you break above this 50 period on a good report. The other one is you take this down on a good report, on a bad report. And I don't think the report was even that bad. They missed by 1 cent, and they're just getting crushed. So right now, Rocket back down to the downside. The shorts are winning, but this is the thing. We've seen the banks, right? So remember, they're eating the bank's lunches on mortgages and stuff like that. So you're going to have to wait for banks to sort of come back down and then maybe new money rotate back into a name. So I'm still long. I'll check my price. I think it's 21 and change. We were able to get some out on this Reddit nonsense. I had friends calling me from the lovely United States about this play as well. And then right now, now we're back down to 18. So I've dug into this one. It is part of a long-term strategy for me. But I mean, how much pain can you take? It reminds me, Neil, of this QS where I got out. Sort of like your Uber trade there. I know we're holding Uber's a different story rather than QuantumScape, but
not if it goes any further down.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm kidding.
You could see here, like, as soon as that short seller report came out, we were able to get out at 36. I do think, and the reason why I call this up, and this is why it's different than Uber, is, you know, we're at these bottoms here on QS, right? So this may be a spot, if you did like QuantumScape and some of what they're doing with solid state batteries, this is another play. What I'm doing is talking not just about day trading, but also talking about longer term plays here, as I know that's been requested by a lot of people. So thank you guys for all of that. And talk about long term. I don't know if any of these names are going to be long term here, Brendo, but small cap right here, amazing for day trades. You've seen us crush IHT, and Neil's had a couple of them today as well. Brendo.
Heat on.
Hey guys, yeah, let's go to small cap real quick. Talk about a few that were moving around in the pre-market. IBIO up on earnings, so they reported aftermarket better than expected. If you go back to the daily chart, we get into significant levels on IBIO going back a month or two ago, which was 2 and 210, the top end of the aftermarket yesterday. The way that this broke to the downside right at the open was just what triggered it for me. The volume that came in on the sell side all the way down to 160 here. If you look at the volume now, though, we're already kind of dying off for the morning. So it might be the end of the story for IBIO. ORGS, another one that was up in the pre-market. This is 580 from yesterday, a little bit of support, and then 6 above that ends up being the top in the pre-market or around the top. Was consolidating nicely right in front of the open, in front of those levels. That was good enough for me for that move back to the downside. And then OCGN, when that news came out, we got the huge flush on that headline. But a lot of people will see this and say, you know, oh man, I missed it. I actually prefer when I miss it and then find the retracement back into some significant levels from yesterday. So you're never going to catch the initial move on the headline unless you're a computer or an algo, but 940 up to 960 ends up being this consolidation from the end of the day. This is now at 780 for OCGN. So big mover downside, guys. Back to you.
I beg to differ, sir. If it was at 780, this attempt at the long would be stopped out. So, look, I took it out the bounce till 780, and I got long at 801 on Oxygen, but that's not the long I want to get to because Peloton, I guess that was a good out when it rejected at 92s because I just got tapped. This is the high of the day in the aftermarket when it spiked up into 86. That's what I'm looking off and working off of here. So I just got into that long. DraftKings just got taken out there, so of course half of a win, and then we get the rest out to make sure we take a tight stop there. But I just got triggered into Peloton here, 86.64. Looks like it's bouncing off that level. This is why we try to go back and when we talk about like how to form a trade, how to look at the levels. That's what the 830 to 930 is all about. It's the process, guys. You got to have one. And if you're going to dip by, you have to have areas that you like. If Peloton get back, this is a big time drop. So I didn't expect this to happen coming off that low, coming off that high that quickly. So I do want to get some out in front of 88 here and maybe only take like a buck on the first little bit. Whereas I do think there's $2 to $3 worth of upside in this trade. It's the manner in which it came in. I'm not saying it scares me, but it's got to concern you how this snapped back when the market is so strong and Peloton is so beaten up. The fact that it gave that away so quickly is at least a little bit concerning. What is not concerning whatsoever is Tesla once again. And we'll go with this one. I feel like we don't use the crypto one enough there, guys, because those are Bitcoins. We should actually maybe have one for some of the other coins as well. That'd be a little bit fun. But Tesla, that breakout, don't worry about these dark pool fills. It never even tested $1 lower on this little break at 75s. I just got some out halfway towards 80, so like that's 677.50. That's how I always do it, guys. We scalp a couple of dollars down to that resistance level, then look to see if it breaks the $5 range. So I want it to break 680 and then see if we can't hang on for dear life. Of course, my daily chart not split adjusted, so that's a bit of a pain in the junk. We have yet to break through and hold that 50 period. That is the 680 mark. That is a huge level for Tesla. I think we get right up into at least that 690, if not testing 700. So big moves on Tesla today. That's a nice winner. OCGN, I jinxed it. Brennan literally, I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? Brennan calls the future. OCGN, when he's like, OCGN's at 780. I'm like, no, it's not. It's at $8, and I'm long at 8. And then this is what happens. Yeah, it's going to be at 780 now. So Brennan, as usual, predicts the future. I'll take my first hit on this stock. This is not covering a short. I covered the short down here at 8 even. I'm now back into the long off this low of the day. This was on volume that it bounced off of here. That's why I was interested in that defense at 780. If it holds it again, fair enough. I'm not averaging into this one. I got 801s. I'll give it the 20 pennies, and that's it.
Guys, spin it.
Money, money,
I mean,
money, money,
look,
money.
this is, I could have Valeria come over here, and I'm not going to do it because we already did that before, and you guys know I'm honest about this stuff. My Peloton was sitting, and I just looked, from 9:05 this morning at 86.20 was where my Peloton bid was, and it came down and didn't fill, okay? So I punched in there, 86.76. We took, I know Neil's still holding this, we took 50 cents clean on that one. So that's another backflip. You guys are right, another backflip. We are now 3 times our daily goal now as it just continues to ride upside. And then, by the way, we did take another one here, another one, DJ Khaled action there. So we'll slay another dragon here with AMD finally alive from, who knows, from the dead, I guess, lately. AMD, big trade here, 78.29, out 30 cents, out 50 cents, right? Then we take it again on the high break, and they're just getting out for dimes right now. So we only have now 20% left. I'm gonna hold this back to 79. Obviously, AMD's not gonna be a loser at all today. Let's see, though, the future's now coming back down. And then just to talk quick, on Square, there's that out. So the roller coaster ride on Square today only goes up for me, okay? Because we don't have to worry about anything. Oh, that reminds me, cancel some of these downside protection orders. Thank you very much. So yeah, now we cancel those. Good out, obviously, there on Square, it looks like. So there's that 240 out. I don't have to look back. I think I eventually will look back into when this thing's like at 250 today, and we'll be like, hey, where's Square? But for right now, a good out there. We added Peloton there, so now that's gonna be 8 for 8 on the day. All trades given very simply, no averaging in, like nothing crazy about the trades today. The only one that kind of looks a mess is Palantir, but that's always how Palantir works. And all these buys, like, it's nice when all of your bids are below current price. Unfortunately, we had that happen. Still positive on the day. And when I'm talking about clean trades, like, I gave this 111 to, like, look, guys, if you're just joining again, sticky note, right? Look at the 2 ones that are highlighted. Beyond Meat at 111 and Square at 231.50. So both trades absolute monsters today. There's that one. IHT, I don't even want to look back at you. Okay, good. Actually, I do. Haha, IHT. Back to the downside. We did good on that one. Peloton's about as easy as it gets. And then Tilray, guys, about, again, a one and done. That's my style of trading. I'm going to give you the levels, hammer them, and then we hope and pray that the stock odds are on our back. But we're 23-2 last 25 days.
Absolutely, and that's a good number there. It's actually very, very close to a pitching record, but I'm not going to get into any nerd action there. We're about to get this Nikola, and I said I'm only going to take a couple of shots at this. It had that nice little flush into 10.55. I had to go back into 11 before I took any more shares back in. It's held 11 for now. Remember, they got that call going on here, but looking like it wants to take the top off. So I'm going to be out, and there it is. Hands off the keyboard is my stop triggers. That's me out of Nikola, so we'll take the win on the first little bit, and we're going to lose on the rest, and that's just how we're going to play it. Tesla pulling back at 675, but I don't want to buy the dip at the same price. If I do, it's going to be a little bit closer to that 70 range. Brendo?
LMFA, which is LM Funding America Incorporated, going crazy here today. So there was a stock split, which got it to here in the pre-market, but this thing has since run up to 6.5. So it was a 1 for 5 stock split, so ignore this, but halted a number of times here, guys, for LMFA.
Not LMFAO, famed, I forget what their song was. Yeah, some crazy dance song. I don't know what it was. Peloton, so yeah, you probably remember what it is, Robbie. LFMAO there. Okay, Nokia, Rocket. Yeah, Rocket's still making moves to the downside. Square coming back up. We can take a quick look at Roku right now. 325, sorry. You know, this is what I like for sure, but I don't want to go short on Roku today. So this is looking like a short. You guys know I don't have a problem going long or short. Big joke, going both ways. But again, today I've only been long, and it's been cannons, so that's good. But I do like, this is not a horrible break here on Roku. Forget about the daily chart. Let's have a look at the 20-minute here. Right back in to like some of these levels, like 320. You have the 200 period at 322 and change. Actually, the 20 minutes not giving me much at all. Let's check a 3-minute on Roku, maybe. VWAP on a 3-minute back to 320 and a quarter. Yeah, I mean, I really, really like this break. I think it's done its work already, but I'm not going short Roku. But if you are long Roku, I would watch out for this 325 break on the downside. I thought I'd look at this and be able to find a trade, but I am wrong. I've made 74 executions today. Loving some Beyond Meat. Wish that I put some trades on before the market opened, back down to 107. I already gave the bull case for Beyond Meat, and it looks like we're gonna be at least right on that one. This thing was down 10%, now only down 3%. So still a good buying opportunity for Beyond Meat. I think you gotta step in and put this in your long-term portfolio if you haven't already. Neil, OCGN, Flush City.
Yeah, it's Flush City. Brendan, I'm telling you, man, that guy he speaks the future. I should have stayed on the short side of it there, but I'll give the props. I know we're both looking at Peloton. I got out here, this little peak here, 88.50. When I saw it turn around, I'm like, that's close enough to VWAP to be able to take that retracement play. It's just so similar to, if you ever see the short side, like when I'm taking that kind of a strategy where I'm looking at a previous level, in this particular case, it was the afternoon top. If I was looking the other side in the short trade, when it's made a hard reversal, I'm always looking for the VWAP retracement. So it's basically the same thing here. It just happens to be a bounce into VWAP instead of that retrace. Of course, I showed you guys Nikola, and that one was the hit. I want to come back over because some people were looking at NIO. NEO, of course. Yeah, look, I was waiting for it, and I wanted a bit of a dip buy, thinking maybe I was going to get it. I actually missed out on an opportunity here. NIO very, very strong. Heading towards that 38 level, it does have the look like it's trying to roll and maybe dip into VWAP before it gets to that 38. I think that would be a little bit more healthy if it could make that type of a move. Tesla is the last thing we have on, holding 75. So this is why I always take some off at one of those quarter moves, so that $2.50 win. If it consolidates any longer, I'm probably going to have to dump this one around flat or maybe give it a buck and then look to see if I can't get 670 on a retrace. One of those things, I mean, it's 10:30 and it's like we both only have one position here, and I'm actually looking for something to short. I just can't find anything just yet. So if anyone's seeing a setup there, I'll look at plug to see if there's anything going. But for now, Tesla long, that's all I got.
Okay, Brenda, what up?
It's 10:30, guys. Let's get a look at what's coming up in about 45 minutes or so. We have a great guest coming through. This is a very, very interesting story, and I hope you'll all stick around for it. 11:15. Control Technologies, a new addition to the NEO exchange as of yesterday. So stick around for Control Technologies coming up in about 45 minutes, guys. It's 10:30, as I mentioned. Let's get a check on what is happening over in Europe. There's an hour left in the session before the weekend. Miss V, what's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets hit record highs supported by strong economic data from Germany. Adidas is up more than 8% after it raised its sales outlook for 2021. Back to you.
Yeah, we were mentioning Nike benefiting as well on this side of the pond from that Adidas report, guys.
Yeah, so I see you guys with IHT, by the way, and we didn't have locates when I last checked, but this is obviously a double top setup for a short, but I didn't have the locates. I'm going to check again to see if we've got them here. Otherwise, I'd be all over like that 5 retrace. It's a clear failed break, so I would have loved it, but just can't get into it. I know it's a big time mover.
Yeah, we destroyed that stock already, but yeah, the short down to 4. Like, I can't believe where we got it. I'll talk about this in a second. I want to give a big shout out to Maggie for doing this, because I think this was pretty cool. I don't know if I'm ruining the National Day, but it's National Space Day today, so maybe we'll look at some Virgin Galactic, but I kind of like this one. All of our faces in there. Miss V, of course, with the flag, so thank you for that one. I think it's pretty cool. We got to do more of these, so thank you to Maggie for doing that for sure. Very creative, but I don't expect anything less from Laurier, right? So, okay, IHT there. Yeah, I agree, Neil. That's looking like amazing from that $4.99 top there at $5. So again, we looked at it just a couple seconds ago. It was down at 4. Brendan can remind us maybe of what the news was there, but IHT, a big time mover today. We took that first break, right? So this is the trade for me. It's pretty simple. Like, you get a halt, then it makes the move off the halt, right? Halts at this price, then comes back in. You could make a bottom case there at 4 for sure, but I didn't see it then, right? Brendan brought it to us either at the halt or somewhere around here. Then it comes back down, and then that break of that halt price was pretty key to me. And then always getting out at 5. I mean, those of you that know me, that's how I trade. We get out at 5 for 2/3 there because I was like, I don't know, these runners, I don't know where they're going to go. And then we do hold that 1/3 for the home run, but that fails on that. So that's that trade there. Big mistake for me, or else we'd be even more than our daily goal right now, but we have that trade right there. I got in and out quickly on Peloton. I had no idea why this move happened. So Neil just mentioned to me, he's like, oh my God, it's at 86. We had an 86.20 bid that never got picked up. That's fine. But right there, a nice 50-cent smooth win. And now, guys, Peloton's just bouncing around. This may be a nice break back to the downside, maybe. 87.65 might be worth a try. Did we ever find out why, Neil? Peloton, I guess it's just retracing.
I'm assuming it was just a retrace. Now, all I will say is this. When it rejected off of 92, I was watching the tape, and it did feel like, okay, that's a bit of a reversal happening in here. So I just punched out, and then it held around. And it was kind of a big flush off of 91.50, but I'm a little shocked that it came that far back that quickly. And next thing I know, it's like hitting that 86, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. We got to move on. I want to show you this OCGN because it breaks that 780. Of course, I'm going to get out of it, and then it continues. This trend to the downside is getting ridiculous, and I feel I shouldn't have walked away from this one to that short side trade. I'm still eyeballing this 845 level, and that probably should have been the thing that I was patient for. So I'll stick with that. If it has the juice to hold above 8 even, maybe it gives you that lunchtime consolidation and then break out at 845. Till then, we're going to go with Tesla. Hang on to it. Get those, and for me, I love some of the levels on Tesla, and I found if you trade every single day, I love some of the levels on Tesla, and I found if you trade every single day, you're usually wrong. But I always kind of look at some of these like breaks. When we had that 830 number, and then you look at where Tesla was off of that 660, and it ramps. And if you miss opportunities like that, you get it back here in front of 660. It's able to make that run. Once it holds that 666 level, which you know I love, I'm then screaming breakout through the high of the day. And we have room. I think we can get to that 690, maybe even 700 today. It's only 2% up, and that's basically, it's only barely outpacing the market, but you know what's been happening in Tesla lately. I know some money does want to come back into it, and 680 is also the 50-period moving average. So lots of reasons why I think if it hits that number, I'm looking to hold through as opposed to take off for the $5 win.
Yeah, banging trade on Tesla. Wow, that was a great one.
Square.
Yeah, well, yeah, Square. We're both. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, today in this market, Neil, I mean, there's been a lot of big runners. I think the one that we both missed, but it happened to, oh my God, like there's that, what did I say? Hit the, I'm not reloaded, but do we have the rewind button?
What is that?
If you guys can find that, because all you have to do is, oh shoot, I think I just missed it. It doesn't matter. I'll do this one because I like this one the best anyways.
I'm reloaded.
What did I say about Roku? I said if Roku breaks 325, you need to be out. But I should have been short, not watching and commenting. I said I didn't want to short Roku, so I know why I didn't get the short. Again, we don't have to be in everything. I've made 74 trades already today. But yeah, that 325 break, we looked at it, and it was a good one. If anybody was long there, Roku, I think that was your idea to get out there off that top break early. This is another big one, guys. Look at AMD right now. So this is a name that I've loved for a long time, but it's been hit for a long time as well. Earnings, hey, like, does this look like a stock that had great earnings? No, but it did. So AMD comes right back down to the downside. Remember, in this chip shortage, there's going to be back and forth with this name. So you be very, very careful with AMD. But I've said it over and over and over again. I know Brendan's pulled the trigger down here. I've pulled the trigger numerous times down in this level, man. My first purchase of AMD was back here in June at this 50 level, and then it exploded up. I expect the same type of bounce off from here. If your trading time period is a year from now, I mean, some of these stocks, man, 6-8 months, you're going to look back and be like, wow, AMD. That's what I think anyways. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, it's friend NVIDIA having quite the day as well, up 3% today. Here's another earnings name, guys. We'll have a look at Expedia. 8% for Expedia, people traveling, apparently. 180 up here is the top end of the range on the daily chart. So big beat as well for EXPE.
So Brian James, okay. I'm just kind of curious that you guys are asking about Tesla here. Like, we like the long in Tesla. If there's something that we're missing in terms of liking another entry point or whatnot, I'm sort of being patient with it. I liked a couple of longs for now. I think if you're not in it, I mean, there's this 680 break, which I don't know if I'd be all over that. Maybe you want to hold back in case it fails here, and you can get yourself a better price. But we're often running in the market, and I feel like you don't want to necessarily miss out on too much. We talked about Peloton, but I do want to come to, look, it's maybe we ruin what national day it is, but let's look at Virgin Galactic, because there's at least a little bit of pie in my face for saying you can wait around, and I kind of still have that feeling with Virgin Galactic. Although it did give you some looks into the teens, I thought it would get halfway there between 20 and 15, because I kind of always do that to myself, like anchor myself to these like random like mathematical increments. Now we're looking at yesterday's bottom, and this is the high of the day, 1980. This 1980 bottom, not yesterday, a couple sessions ago. And then I get 1980 as the high today. Yeah, I'm going to try a short in Virgin Galactic, and it's not, I just look at that level, and I always go back, and if I can find a good turning point, I'll see if I can't take it. Now, I don't want to miss out too much on it, so I'll try to chase it here to the 60s. I just threw an offer in, like, of course, yeah. I just offered like 68s and it dropped down a couple cents. I'll stick around to sort of wait for it to come to me. I'd actually want a price in the low 70s if it's breaking 80s, so risk like 10 cents plus slippage. See if you can't get it back down to 1950, and of course VWAP as well. So new position alert. I love you, Virgin Galactic, and I wish you all the best of luck in the future. But this is a day trade. I'm shorting off the top.
Yeah. And again, you talked about yesterday, like companies that don't make money aren't going to work in this environment. But we do get that nice report today from the, well, not from the Fed, but from the employment there. And yeah, big numbers there coming through. So hopefully that's bad for some of these value stocks and better for growth stocks, as we appreciate the interest rate decision not going to happen as fast as people did think. So that's the reason for the NASDAQ bump today. If you guys are watching, my eyes are just glued to a bunch of different things here. Including that AMD trade. So we're waiting for that to see if it wants to get a high. Oops, that's not a 1 minute chart. We are trying to break this high. I'm still in this, still only a quarter though right now. So it's not a monster trade, but you know, one that we'd like to win on, obviously. So here we go, AMD to the upside right now. See if it can take out 79.50 and then we'll roll with it. So good trade here on AMD. I'm thinking about getting into Rocket, and this is why. Again, I'll put the tweet in there, but look what I said about DraftKings today. Stay away. So I actually feel pretty happy that we did do that, because if you look over here at DKNG, off of what was not a horrible report, down 1.37% off making highs earlier, right? So in the pre-market, it was looking like it was rocking. And then look what happened as soon as the market opened. Crash landing with the arrows to the downside for Donkey Kong. So just watch out, man. I do not love this stock, but what I do love is when Brendan takes the camera, because damn, he's handsome. Brendan over at the big screen. Let's go, bud.
It's a haircut.
Friday, can you tell? Let's talk about what is leading the market so far today. We're up 0.75%. I mean, it's a nice day. Everything, widespread gains really right across the entire market. Bottom corner over there, consumer staples. I was just reading about Monster Energy, or Monster Beverages. The makers of Monster Energy down 5% after earnings. Earnings were actually better than expected, but they were saying that the global, apparently there's a global aluminum shortage. So that might stunt their growth over the next quarter for MNST. Heads up on that one. Energy stocks, a little bit of weakness coming into them as well. EOG there, though, did report better than expected. Earnings, speaking of growth, tech stocks, healthcare stocks, all in positive territory. And I mean all, outside of a few of the software names here. IBM that Mark was talking about in negative territory today. CRM, 0.8%, ADP and WU. Everything else to the upside. Healthcare stocks, I think there's two that are negative. Everything else in positive territory, so take your pick. Some of the consumer discretionary names, we mentioned Nike early on, 4%. Tapestry right beside it there, 5.5%. There's Expedia, 8% to the upside after earnings. Booking.com right below it. All the travel names are here, the cruise lines, the hotels, Penn National there. It's one of those days where it's pretty much everything participating higher on that jobs report. 0.73 now for the S&P. Let's go back to Neil.
Just about everything. Look, you're hard pressed to find some losing trades in here today, but believe me, there are a few. You are the GOAT, by the way. If you don't know the reference, that's the greatest of all time around here. You're going to see mostly small caps that are down. That alpha is getting absolutely crushed to the downside, but I want to come back if I can because we try to be honest about everything here. Look, to take that shot on Virgin Galactic, I got my price. I got 71s into the short side trade. If it takes out the high of the day, I like the level because when I go back a couple of days, if I get a rejection on a move like this, right at 1980, and I can go back and look at it and find some significance to that price level, I'm going to be all about it. And then you go to the 15, actually, there's a better look here. You go to the 15, you could be able to see that bottom. It had a gap down at that price. If we break 80s, we'll take the 10-cent hit and move on. And everything's relative, right? Because obviously it's a $19 stock. So over there, you concern yourself with 10 cents. Tesla just made the breakout. So, it's now taken out that 680. I'm only really showing you, can continue to show you the 15-minute chart here just so you can see there was this chop zone at 85s. I actually want to go ahead and cancel that order because there is this like 690 double top. I didn't actually see it push into 690, but for here, if it breaks back below that 680, I'll go with a trail. If we hold above 685, I'll move that trail up. For now, we have ourselves an $8 move in Tesla. That's after the 661 long. These are separate trades, so yes, we've moved 20 bucks into Tesla. I think there's probably resistance at 90. If it does bounce away from 90 and get its second wind, there is a chance that you can buy another dip here. But it's starting to get a little extended. The market is starting to roll over just a tiny bit off the high. We had that push into 1380 on the NASDAQ. You're trying to test the top and you're breaking back down here. That's why I would at least anticipate that you might want to take some profit on some of these moves. Now, you also have that 50-period average, which is exactly that 680. I don't want us crossing back below 680, and I'm still holding the long in Tesla. But if it can push just a couple of more bucks, get us another nice little $10 move, I'll be very, very happy with the return in this Tesla. And, of course, Virgin Galactic. I should be happy that it's going up. Don't get me wrong, but you have to separate the two worlds. And at the end of the day, I saw a short setup. I took it. It broke 1980. I am out. So it is what it is. 1980, not quite 1979, which obviously, given what Sean said earlier, is a significant number for both of us there. If you can't figure that one out, I don't know what to say. AMC, now I haven't looked at this. This is post-earnings as well. But I know a lot of you guys are talking about this meme runner. A little bit of, I guess, chop happening here between 50s and 75s, but the volume's dying out of it. It's been a beta of a runner so far today. On a day where there's lots of fantastic earnings, I try to stay away from some of these stocks. I know I'm calling it a meme stock. I know they had numbers as well, but AMC not at the top of my radar. I'd love to see the volume pick up for a potential break at 975, but it's sort of trailing off here. Brendo?
I was just noticing some of these vaccine makers not really doing a heck of a lot, but BNTX still holding early gains. Just saw this note down here. Pfizer asking the Swiss government to okay their vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds. Pfizer teaming up with BNTX. We mentioned BNTX higher in the pre-market here, but as I said, not really doing anything, just kind of chopping around this 180 level for BioNTech. Pfizer doing even less, guys.
Yeah, Pfizer's not a great, we've talked about this before, like Pfizer's not a fantastic day trade, really. You just kind of wait for those pops and then trade them accordingly. But yeah, BioNTech going crazy. Pfizer looks like, I saw that, yeah, they're looking for the FDA full approval. So let's check out, let's just check out Moderna. I mean, you just talked about Pfizer a little bit there. Let's go over to another vax name. Yeah, really not doing much there. Don't really see a trade. 4.5 million shares seems pretty good to me. I don't know on average how much this thing does, but again, a break back above 164 looks pretty nice, but you're just caught in this zone right now. Like I'd rather not look at this name, but not bad. If you are 164 break, I like that if that's a name that you're looking at. I want to check back on Tilray here. Like up 17%. Remember earlier I said at what point do people start taking profits? Like I'm going to say now. So I think now is going to be a good short for Tilray. Let's put that one on and see if we can't retrace back down. 1665 is the high on this one. Let's go short Tilray.
Yeah, I'm still looking at this Tesla. Obviously, you're going to see it really starting to hang around this 82.50-ish range. Just to clarify, someone was saying trail off on AMC. It's still up 7%. The volume was trailing off. That just means if I want to get into a long party, I have to wait for a dip buy as opposed to taking the breakout. Breakouts, I need there to be volume and exuberance going into that push. I'm just not really necessarily seeing it over in AMC just yet. I'm talking about this chop here, and this is why I'm going to put a trail. and I'm going to move it up a little bit. I kind of feel like if it takes out now the 682, too tight of a consolidation. If it wants to wick me out and I'm going to miss out on a little bit more upside by taking a $7 winner, it is what it is. I don't really mind that on Tesla. It's already been such a good run that I don't want to throw away this profit. So I'm going to move my trail up a couple of bucks, and there it goes. It actually just hit there. So that was my level of concern. It was really starting to tighten up. It's been such a good runner on this name. I guess I don't have, if this bounces right here and goes to 690, I will have not had diamond hands on Tesla, but my style of action is to get in multiple times. First a dip buy, then there was the breakout. There's probably another shot at this, only if it doesn't go any higher, this breaks down, which looks like it's doing here, I kind of feel like it might not hold at 675, in which case I'd maybe be looking for that 666, 670 entry. That might be pie in the sky, but the market is starting to roll over as well, so you might be able to get that.
Yes. The market's starting to roll over, but not really Tilray. We're going to average into this. So we are short here, 51. We're playing the break, right? So we've already talked about that. 1665 or so. We'll hold it a little bit higher if it does go against us. AMD, we let that thing ride. I don't know. I mean, we break back down through 79. Obviously, we're not going to hold that. So we'll wait for this a little bit lower now as the market's pulling back. And we're not going to give back our day on some of these market pullbacks. Obviously, we've given back absolutely nothing. So we'll wait here on AMD breaking back through 79. It's Miss V, and she's at the big screen.
Hey, Sean, Plug Power is popping on the chat right now. Stock is up more than 5%, guys. Any thoughts about Plug?
Whoa. I wish I could say take the breakout at 2350. No, I can't. Look, I mean, it is what it is. This is kind of, wow, that's a good breakout on Plug Power at 2350 is what I want to say about it here. There were a couple of news stories. My daily chart doesn't want to load there because obviously, I don't know, when I talk about the 2350, I should have been showing you this. Of course, you have yesterday's tops. The only issue is that you kind of have this floor at 24 even as well. So this channel could get a little bit choppy between, I guess, yesterday's tops and then the day before that and the session before, a couple of sessions before the 4th and the 5th, I should say, that 24 to 24.10. You might have a little bit of chop into that range, which should actually be pretty healthy. Like, I would expect it to pull back there. I feel like if it screams through those levels, I'd probably be shooting for a short off of 25 even. If it does pull back in that range, I think it's not a bad idea. There was news, but I have to check in to see exactly what it was because unfortunately I didn't read it. Of course we had that miss. I'm flat on the session, which is kind of crazy. It's something you don't see very often, but we have not reminded everybody that the way to end this week, and the perfect way to end this week, of course, is with a fantastic guest. We do a lot of these interviews, and we're going to have the CEO from Control Technologies. I'm not going to spoil anything, but very, very interesting. You want to make sure you tune in for this. I'm kind of excited to see what they have to say. They got an uplisting onto the NEO exchange, which is up here in Canada, so it should be a good one to watch. And make sure you tune in. Brendan does a fantastic job as always. We try to go over to the symbols that are moving. You guys just gave Plug. That was a fantastic look there, by the way. So anything you guys also want to holler out that we're not involved in or we haven't mentioned, let us know. With the best community in the world, I'm flat and looking for some ideas here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just logged in here, so I got my pack reserved here for Top Shot. NFT craze, right? So this is Mark Cuban here. $9, you're going to get 3 cards. We'll see. It's reserved, guys. I came back in to check. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time. This pack will drop, and I'll let you know on Monday who's in that pack. But I'm just trying to flip these things, man. I'm not trying to hold it. I've made money on Top Shot so far.
Michael
if
Carter
I get
Williams?
some cool cards, I'll hold on to them. I have a pretty good Trey Young card. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that. And I just bring that up because I know NFT. We've talked about NFT here, and I like it. It's pretty exciting. Okay, Tilray right now, it's taking out the high. So this is fine. We now have a position that's of substance. So we're gonna wait now. It's at the high of the day here. It looks like it just wants to keep on going. So yeah, Tilray, good bottom there. Wish we still had it, but we're short 59. So it's absolutely not the end of the world at all. We did average into AMD there, protecting that 79 down turn. So we'll see if the market can pick up here for AMD back to the upside right now. We'll see. Our average price is long 79.15. So it's not fantastic, but if you're having fun on today's show, please make sure you hit the like button. Yeah, see, this is the problem. I didn't refresh mine. Let's see how many likes we have here. 1.2K. Would be nice to get this going a little bit more, Ms. V. So if we can get that to 2,000 by the end of the show, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your continued support. And we are back at 3:15. So if you have to leave early right now, join us backside 3:15 as well. Big interview coming up, so it's going to be fun. And I'm going to watch this AMD break 79, which won't be very fun, but hopefully our Tilray can retrace back to the downside. That is 79 even, so easy time to get out there, no problems. Back to Brendan with Money Talk.
Guys, yeah, all about the jobs report this morning for currencies. Obviously, I left the 10-year quote up here just so we can have a look. It did bounce. I mean, we saw 150 in the pre-market there just before the open when that number came out. We're back to 155 on the 10-year. But overall, the U.S. dollar, you can see that's a daily chart of DXY up here, the dollar index. Back below 91. The bottom end of this range is 90, so heading back towards recent lows for the dollar index. That being said, I mean, nothing really significant as far as moves to show you. The euro leading the way up about 0.6%. Canadian dollar has gone negative again. We got to almost 82.3, but it's pulling back off of that. So basically unchanged at this point. British pound is significantly higher, 0.6%. Japanese yen, Swiss franc lower. Australia, New Zealand higher. The jobs report, it's worth mentioning, in this country, not the greatest as well today. That's why you're seeing a little weakness here. Cryptos, positive right across the board. But, I mean, 1% for Bitcoin seems like a daily occurrence up or down at this point, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, that's a nothing burger, as they say, or somebody says, on Bitcoin today. But it does, I mean, it's still so high. We'll watch to see what happens in the afternoon, or sorry, over the weekend, because Bitcoin doesn't tend to move too much. We'll see about it. I mean, it moves a lot on the weekend with the Chinese market and whatnot trading that name. So we will watch for Bitcoin. A new trade alert right now. We may get stopped out of our, I mean, if it breaks through 75, we've talked about, okay, here it goes. Right now, Tilray just there, bang. So a loss there on Tilray as we will go, well, I'm going arrows down, but Tilray's going arrows up. We're still long. I mean, this is still a fine trade, but Tilray there, obviously, breaking new highs. We can look and see, there's really going to be no levels. This thing can just keep on going. So I may take one more short here because I just believe in the pullback here on Tilray. I think it could come back at some point. So, for me, well worth the risk here. I think it's, pieced out pretty good here for a Tilray short into 17. I don't really have anything. We can look at, maybe it's stupid. Maybe I shouldn't do it. I mean, the thing is we're doing really well today. So sometimes you get a little silly here, throwing some money away. 17 is right there. What is that high side? 17.25. Okay, so let's take another shot here, and then we'll give it to this level, like 17.25. We'll give it 50 cents. I think there's more than 50 cents on the way down when this thing decides to turn. So I'm going to take a shot here on Tilray one more time.
So I'm a little bit embarrassed by this one. Sunrun, this was, I don't know. There's so many earnings today. There was a lot to go through, and I had a bit of a fight with my keyboard, and I eventually won actually this morning. But this is a stock that I liked yesterday for a bit of a buy. And it gave a great dip buy, but there was really no breakout, not the follow through I was looking for. So it's a little bit embarrassing to have not come back to this because it gave you a great dip. And Sunrun, so the solar names had just not been making the moves, and they've been beaten up. And you get both the news today and the great earnings that they had yesterday, and then it gives you a gift of a dump. And then, it literally defecated on itself, $2. That's a big time move post earnings there in what should have been a strong market environment for this in the morning. And then it even gave you a little bit of a dip buy. Now this rejected off 50, so I'm likely to take a look at this in the afternoon and potentially for shorting off of 5.0. I see you guys talking about OCGN, and yeah, that's right. This time it does hold, so I should have just waited for Brendan to call 780. Then when it breaks, look at that, right back up that $8. I was kind of looking for a spot to go long, and obviously it ended up being a loser. This is it right here off of that $8. Looks like it's on the breakout trail here. I still like that 845 level, but I don't want to miss out on this completely. I might try one more time here in front of 8 even, so hopefully it can dip off VWAP, which is clearly getting a little bit low here, and then give me a shot, maybe a little bit lower, but I don't want to chase it too far. I've already missed. You don't want to throw away a good day by getting that sort of FOMO action, but OCGN, you're absolutely killing me. And I do want to check back in on Nikola. At least you got to have an out, right? So this was it. It was 11. And this is kind of stupid because if you say to yourself, I'm going to lose some money shorting Nikola on earnings, maybe I shouldn't have just shorted Nikola. I don't know. That's one way to go about it. I did. It looked like it was good for a bit, and then of course I took the hit on Nikola. You're going to see it pump up to 1150. I'm not going to double down on it. I'm looking OCGN. I'm looking dip buy on Tesla. And if you guys can show me a trade on AMC, I prefer buying the dip. Although it looks like it's going to break out, the volume just still hasn't picked up. I'm looking for that volume to spike to get me more enticed on the momentum in that stock.
Throw some darts here, guys. Look at what's just happened to Tilray. Bang, the money comes back in. We got out a little too early, but that doesn't matter. As Tilray, just look at this trade, guys. Again, we talked about adios, amigos. So we go to the downside right now on Tilray. Like, damn, you thought you got me, Tilray, but nice try. We do lose on that, but then we get right back in there. We talked about it. We were like literally 2 cents too early on that stop. Comes right back in, and this is what I'm talking about. We take an average price, right? You can see where we're at now, 76. This is 20 cents in the money. Like, this was a 15-cent hit. So, Tilray, thank you so much. Come again, basically, on that one. Look at this. Peloton. Bang, bang, we go short, man. We're just like running these stocks today. I don't know what kind of, we talked about having some sort of a lucky, oh, I know what it is, man. It's all this art here, guys. It's all this art. We talk about that. There it is. What's up to my lovely daughter? The best right here. So those are I kind of like this one. I love you. And then her name there. So that's a good one. I don't know what, I forget what is that the Valentine's monster or something? But that's a good one there. Oh, no, that's from something. I'll have to ask her where that's from. Okay, Tilray, back downside. We just talked about that. And then Peloton, look, short. We're giving it to 88.50. That's another win. So that's 50 cents there. That's 50 cents here. So we've taken $1 out. It looks like it'll go back to the upside here. So we're short 88.08. So maybe we should have took everything out right there at this level. Again, look where we got out, guys. 51. We always play the 50s. So look at the market now bouncing back to the upside. So Tilray, maybe get out one more piece. Oh, actually, we've actually done fine getting out here on the way down, guys. So I don't have too much left. I thought I had more left than I do, but I don't. So nice little trade there. We'll see if Peloton continues its march lower, but it may take out some of these high spots. Where was my stop out for this? 88.51. So if this goes back up to 88.50, we'll get out, but it doesn't look like it wants to, so we'll wait to see if there's some more downside to Peloton. Let's see if we can't catch another multiple dollar winner here today.
There you go. Peloton, the gift that keeps on giving, and it's certainly a good one. And look, you can have your opinions about the stock, but at the end of the day, they do have a loyal following. LEDS, now, of course, we were only shorting the stock before, but it just had a $1 spike from 850 here. You look at that consolidation on volume, spikes about $1, and then snaps back down. Little rubber band action for me. Once it bounces in front of that 850, yeah, obviously I missed it by maybe 10 or 15 cents. And if it consolidates down here, I'll pick up some more shares in front of that 850 level. But I'd like to see if it can't get back into view up. So new position alert for me here. You guys were right about AMC. I'll give it to you. There's that it did break 975. It's right back there, of course. But I was looking for maybe some more volume into this move. It's going to be hard to see here. I'll try to, if we can do this, just go really extreme. Yeah, there was a little bit of a spike into volume, and maybe I should have got engaged in that trade. I preferred the dip buy, but you sort of pick your avenue, and then there you go. I'm trying to drag it down. I can't do it. You sort of pick your avenue. For me, I was looking for that dip down into 950 on VWAP, which happened a couple of times. If it rejects here, maybe it gives both. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a break. If you guys had this one when it's consolidating, fantastic. I'm still looking for that 950 range to make a scalp at lunchtime as opposed to the quick little breakout. LEDS, that's a new trade for me to the long side. I'm still looking at Ocugen. It's coming back from 825. I want that long a second time off of $8. Of course, the last time, Brendan jinxed it, I want to say, but he's right here for some news.
Just going to mention MoneyGram. I didn't notice this one in the pre-market, but another earnings name, guys. MGI reported as well. Looks like this morning, in fact, in the pre-market here. We're coming back into significant levels here, 7.5 for MGI on better than expected earnings.
Yeah, MoneyGram. And again, we've seen the moves here today in Square. Like this fintech, MoneyGram is fintech, right? It's Western Union that's using Ripple right now. So, take that in consideration as well. We only have the two shorts on right now. Tilray, which is came back. So that's the one thing that I'm not in love with right now. But we got out more than I got out more than I thought there at 51. So you heard me do that talk. I still like the average into the high of the day. Which is, we're past that now. If my orders are now higher than that. We're going into 1725. That's the level that we're going into right now. So we'll see if we can't catch a break with that one. But here it comes right back to the downside. So all I have to do is tell it that I'm not super happy with it, and then we get some moves here. So let's see, guys, if we can't put something in our pocket now. Batman is in the building. We talked about that short on Tilray. Like, we've taken the stock top to bottom today, guys. We had a 1502 or 1506, sorry, bid. You know, you're not going to find a lower bid than that, I don't think, today for on anybody's screen. And then we have this short as well right here. So we're holding out hope that this thing can retrace back to like 1620 or so. That's my call right now for this name. So I'm looking to get Tilray down to 1620-ish. Where is my bid? Actually, you know, all honesty, 1631 is my bid. So we'll see if it can come back down to 1631, and then we'll hold a piece and see if it breaks back down to VWAP right there. So good trading on that one. Palantir goes up the, like, that's the one mistake. I don't think I have many mistakes today, maybe none, but Palantir there, getting out on that 25 break is just, you know, when there's blood in the streets, man, Palantir bleeds a bright red. So we didn't want to hold that for too long, but Palantir does make a move back, and now it's going to dancing. So we'll see about that in the aftermarket, in the afternoon show, where Palantir is. If it comes back down to 2025, I'll load that boat up. But until then, I stay away from PLTR, guys.
That's right. They can't stop you. We got a lead here. Yeah, you're making my day, LEDS. Certainly the short was fantastic. We just got that off of no average in because it actually didn't come down. It immediately went to the upside off that 830. I'll always take some out in front of VWAP. It's this retracement I'm trying to capture. So the next leg we'll try like 930, 945, somewhere in that range, about 50 pennies or so. The volume's actually, it did pick up on that spike, but that latest move to the upside, it really did not. So I don't know how much I want to dig in. It's still a bit of a downward trend. That bounce obviously has worked, and I'll talk about Oxygen, which had not. Well, at least not for me. Good for you guys that are on that eight long. I was actually waiting for a bit of a pullback. It's continuing to push. A little bit of volume starting to come in. I still like that 845. It's starting to get there. I'm going to buy the dip if I can. Remember, I'm 0 for 1 when it comes to that long trade. I'd like to put a winning trade that isn't a short on Oxygen if I can. Tesla never really gave that big retracement, so it's still an upward trend. I don't know if I had the diamond hands today, but we tried a couple of longs on Tesla and still think there's room to 690. At this time, I do, look, the market just has this feeling like, you know, we're still consolidating. Like, it might give a little bit of a roll going into lunch, and that's the only thing that has me hesitant looking for a pullback on Tesla. Everything else sort of feels like we can make some fresh highs. And I don't know about you, Sean. I have no executions on Uber today, which, whoops, that's even on the chart. I don't even know what to say about it, but it's kind of embarrassing because it is what it is. I kind of like the long. We're talking about some of these stocks recovering and what would you buy. Uber gave a great look at 47.50. I want to be involved in it at some point. It just ramped off of 48. I think I'm going to look to see if it can't dip off VWAP, or maybe you get a double top break at lunchtime. So call that 48.60. Got to get there first, but Uber certainly well within the radar, and should have been a lot earlier in the session, but there was so much to get to that we had to pick our spots. I kind of wish one of them hadn't been DraftKings. And it's not because, look, at the end of the day, this was not that bad. At the end of the day, this was not that bad a situation because I was able to scalp some out, which I don't usually do, and then you keep the tight stop that allows you to be up on it. But once again, I find myself looking at DraftKings on the low at 11 o'clock on a day that you think it's going to be strong, thinking about defending the bottom, right? So you get this 50 low. This is yesterday's bottom here at 50.25. We're pressing into it. This is so incredibly tempting on DraftKings. I don't know how I'm going to be able to stay away from it. I'm going to let it travel a little bit closer to yesterday's low because if 50 is my out, I'd like it at like 35 to 40. So here we go once again. It's DraftKings, and it's got me. Brendo?
Just checking on Presidio Property Trust, another REIT. It looks like going crazy here. You can see 43, 42%. Again, was doing absolutely nothing. Huge volume coming in to the upside for square foot on a REIT, guys.
So I know some of you guys are looking at that OG. Yeah, I don't, well, my chart not going to go. That's kind of frustrating. Is this going to work? I'll have to go manually on this one. This OG, which is a new IPO today, so obviously it's not going to have anything there. I'll have to go on the 1 minute chart. It's actually halted a couple of times to the downside. Tiny, 118 million, and it is a online service company out of China. This just screams stay away. It's done 220,000 in volume and halted twice in a matter of minutes. That is about as dangerous as it gets for a day trade. Like, even I'm not interested in trying to short something like this because I've seen them run to the upside. It is the volume that is, I'll just say, piss poor. So yeah, it's getting crushed, but even I don't want to participate when it's that tiny, guys.
Yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting to short it, but yeah. I don't know. I could go long. There's no problem with that. IHT, I want to check back on that one to see what people are thinking. Yeah, so right now, off of that news, there doesn't look like it wants to do anything at all here. IHT, pretty flat into this. Check back in on Cardano. Right now, still hovering around all-time highs of 174. We love some ADA around here. Check in on BTC as well for you guys. 57,000. Again, you know, pretty soon we will be able to trade crypto. Probably the mini crypto contract. We'll talk about that when it gets released, and I can do a little more study on it. 59,000. I love that break. I mean, to make a call on Bitcoin over the weekend, I'm very, very bullish. So we'll wait on that one. And guess what else is happening right now? Yeah, Tilray. Beautiful move to the downside. We're bidding 31s. Maybe we got a little too interested right there, 31 there. But it goes down to 40s. So we'll wait to see if it can continue its slide to the downside. We like this one short for a reason. We went back on that and we showed you guys the levels at, what was it, 1725? I mean, I still have offers in case we rip up there. It doesn't look like that will be happening right now, but this is the 17 level that we talked about. And I also did mention that, hey man, like I may log in after the show here and dump some of this Tilray stock because my Afria got converted over, and whenever I have a 17% win, I think that, yeah, maybe it's worth it. I'm not 70% in the money. I didn't buy the bottoms. It's just like getting away from some of these stocks is not a horrible idea. The marijuana space is, you know, getting lit up right now, pardon the pun, but CGC is my favorite. So what I think I'd like to do on a day like today is rotate out of Afria, Tilray, and get into CGC. If I think that this is best of breed, I might as well stay with it. So CGC right there, looking to go upside on that name, and then looking to come more downside on Tilray because we still have that bid we're waiting to pick up here.
It's almost like, you ever hear that whenever Sean says LFT, he's referring to loss from top. It's just a metric, a day trade the world that we have, and it's a way to control your risk limit. You have your daily loss limit, you have your loss from top limit. It's like your highest point, and then anything back from there you're allowed to lose. So it's almost like I don't want to have a zero loss from top because that's the only reason. Like I'm kind of kidding here because I do like that DraftKings entry. I do like what I'm seeing here. And I was just checking out Pinterest because a couple of people were saying in the chat, what about pins? And I hadn't looked at it today. It's only up 3%. I'd almost call that disappointing. For some reason, these don't want to flip unless I'm using my quote board. So I'm going to use my quote board to get to it. This is what DraftKings is doing right now. That's me long in front of it. Here's what I want. Here's the difference though. If I like that 50 level and you have that 50.25, which is yesterday's low, I've been jiggled out of this trade, taking a long in front of an even dollar like this on a screaming move down because it'll break the even and then snap right back up. So I'm going to give it some room to break the even, which is happening right now. Give it to about those quarters, because if this is like 50.25, I'll give it an extra 25 cents to that downside. And if it can hold that quarter, I'll look to add to my position. So it's psyched out once and it just broke 50, stopped some people out, and we're back at like 10s or 11s. That's not necessarily cause for me to add to the position. If it had actually tested that quarter and bounced off there, I'd like it a little bit more. But I'm not going to get jiggled out of DraftKings, which happens all too many times. I'm going to actually give this one some room, and I'm not going to average in unless it bounces off of 75 and gives me another chance to get back into it. I still got that leads. It's in the money, but only 20 cents. I'm looking 50.
Yep, exactly. And again, that's how we trade, guys. Have like a target in mind, and then when it gets hit, it's easy. We do trade with stop orders here, right? Conditional orders, probably better to use them. And what that means is when the targets are hit, we just get out of our position. So sometimes you will see us with bottom wicks and things like that. That does happen. So right now, my eyes, I changed it up. You can see Tilray there. We got a little too greedy. We talked about some of those levels, and then I was like, what am I even doing there? We should have gotten away from Tilray earlier, should have got out on that 40 down there. We talked about that, right? So that was an opportunity right there to get out. So I do have a bid back there right now. So if that does come through and it happens, you will see me get out of Tilray back in the 40s. And then I'll still hold out hope, man. I'm going to be with you guys here on that trade. So I still think we can get into the 30s. That's sort of the call that I'm trying to make here on TLRY. And hopefully that'll come true for all of us down, if you're short, down in the 30s. But again, we're going to short this all the way up. So if you see this getting crushed at some point, you know where I'm long or I'm short into that 17.25, because we do have a very important interview coming up. So, you know, you may see Tilray make that move back to 17.
Sean, I got to call someone out here.
Yeah.
JJ Velez. Look at this. To Stephen Hunter, because you guys are talking about this Jake Paul Mayweather thing.
Yep.
Too bad Neil thinks Mayweather is going to win the fight. Jake has a secret weapon in punching. It only takes one of them. Last time I checked, you actually have to hit somebody for a punch to knock them out. So good luck with that.
It's actually Logan Paul fighting Mayweather, but it doesn't matter.
I don't care which one of them's trying to fight. Look, if Mayweather loses, I will eat like. Look, you can show me all the pineapple on the pizza. I'll eat it. I don't even care. And there doesn't even need to be the other side of it, because I don't need to see anything happen to you guys. I don't want anything from you. It's just completely impossible. It is not happening. Floyd is the greatest defensive boxer of all time, and he's never lost. There is just 0% chance that it is going to happen to Floyd. He's certainly not getting knocked out, and he's certainly not going to lose. Like, come on, guys. That's like me shorting Nikola in the midst of like a biggest squeeze, or like taking GameStop when it was at 40 and saying, let's hammer down on the short. That's what it's like thinking that Floyd Mayweather can lose this fight. Give me a break. Come on. Really?
Yeah, I mean, the odds are it's like 20-1 or something for Logan to win, right? So
that's it?
Yeah. It's, I mean, whatever. Look.
They got to come better than that.
I want to watch it for fun, but now, I mean, we all have to watch it because
come on,
Neil's hatred for pineapple may...
Whoa, no. I love pineapple.
On pizza.
I just don't like it.
Right. We need to clarify that. That's true. We'll wait to see, guys, what does happen, but it's Floyd Mayweather, not Merriweather. So we'll see. I just see some people in the chat.
Someone said Merriweather?
No, I don't know. Someone did. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to find that out, guys. Yeah, Jake Paul. Look, these guys are YouTube guys, man. I just think it's funny. I can't believe, like we talked about, that this is what boxing is. But I'm a WWE fan and have been for a while, but haven't watched it for like 10 years. So I guess I shouldn't say that I am one, but it just reminds me of it, and it's just great, man. These guys are great characters. Let's just see what happens there on that play. Tilray does come down a little bit more now, but again, we did have that high at 61, 62 there, and we're only at 59. My bid, just so you guys know, we talked about telling you guys where we're getting in and out all the time. Where is my bid anyways? 48. There it is. So only a dime lower than this, and we'll get out of Tilray. But right now, again, just quickly, guys, look what's happening to Ether right now. It is off again, 35.26 and ripping. Let's go to an hourly chart here just to see what that all-time high is here. It's right here. So it's coming up to it. 3,600 for Ether, and right now we're tracking 50. We're tracking higher than that on Ether right now. So 35.22. We're only 100 away from an all-time high in ETH. But right now, very important, guest of the day with Brendan. Kill it, my man.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, the latest addition to the NEO Exchange as of yesterday, Control Technologies Corporation added to the NEO Exchange here in Toronto. You can find it under the ticker KNR. They are in the smart building technologies sector, so retrofitting buildings with smart technologies to help them run more efficiently. Paul Ghezzi is CEO of Control Technologies Corporation and joins us on the show. Great to have you, Paul. We're going to jump right into things here and talk about the company first. But congratulations right out of the gates for the listing yesterday. Let's talk a little bit about Control Technologies.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So yes, we did uplist yesterday from the Junior Exchange in Canada, which is a CSE. So that's part of our graduation. And we're part of the building technology super cycle that Morgan Stanley recently wrote a really nice piece on. And basically, adding building intelligence is a very high growth sector, given, especially where we are today with the COVID implications of people not returning to the office, and what does it mean to have a healthy space, a smart building. And it's really being driven by technology, IoT, software, cloud, and services. And we're part of that exciting new growth market that is kind of taking over the building space.
This is going to apply to both new construction and, as we said, retrofitting older buildings. Tell us a little bit about some of the technologies that we're speaking of here when we talk about smart technologies. What exactly is that?
Yeah, sure. So I think everyone's really familiar with the smart home. I think the smart home platform driven by Google and other IoT software hardware companies is really quite familiar. That same growth pattern that hit the housing market is now moving over to the commercial industrial multi-res sector. And what it really means is having more technology to drive better decision making in real time. So that's smart learning, AI, IoT, and having more sensors in the building. Those sensors really around energy management, critical emissions, and air quality as a package. And just an interesting stat for some of your viewers, buildings contribute approximately 40% of greenhouse gas emissions. And buildings on their own are one of the largest energy markets in North America, approximately 200 billion annual USD in energy spend a year. So when you look at the addressable market, it's a massive market. The entire sector is moving to a smarter platform, and we're part of that.
Let's talk about how the company operates. There's three sectors or divisions, I guess, when we talk about projects of actually retrofitting these buildings, software side of things, and then the ongoing service side of the business. Let's jump into each of these and tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so I think if you look at Control, we're a high gross margin business, and that's important. So what drives that? Software drives that, service drives that, and then projects complement that. So on the service side, we're at about 60% gross margin. On the software side, about 80%, and projects around 30%. We bundle that as an integrated solution for our customers to drive real-time energy savings, improved emissions, and better air quality. And if you look at that, the way we deliver that, we're really coming at it from a technology disruption perspective, adding more technology, becoming very sticky. And approximately 40% of our platform now is recurring or repeat business from customers. And the more we grow that, the more value we attract to the business, and the better we perform in the market by being very sticky with our customers.
So walk everyone through the process here. What is the initial contact, I guess, with a potential customer, and how do we progress through the stages to get from the very beginning to where it's an ongoing service?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have what we define as a blue chip customer base, large REITs, industrial customers. So we cover industrial, commercial, multi-res, which is basically the entire building footprint. We typically work in 40,000 square feet of space and above. And we start with our software platform where we can integrate into any legacy system. So if you think about any building that's been built over the last 40 years, it has some type of intelligence that usually operates in a closed architecture. We come in with our software platform, which can communicate in over 17 different protocols, open that up, get the data flowing to the asset manager or the owner, use that data to make better decisions and improvements, and really use the software to drive the business forward into the service platform and project platform.
Paul Ghezzi, CEO of Control Technologies, joining us today. Paul, you mentioned, this is a technology and an idea that kind of started in the residential side of things and has now expanded into the commercial building sector. Is there much competition as far as this sector goes? And if so, how does Control stand out from its competitors?
Great question. It's a really interesting sector. It's driven by mega caps. So everyone would recognize Honeywell, Johnson Controls as mega caps, 30 billion of revenue plus. There's not a lot of mid caps in the space, and there's quite a few small caps. So our position is we're growing the business from small to mid to large cap. Some of that is driven by high organic growth. Some of that is driven by strategic acquisition. And typically, once you get beyond about 200 million of revenue, you become an acquisition candidate by a mega cap. So we don't see a lot of competition, let's say, at our level. But as you certainly grow to the mid and large cap space, you would see the incumbents there. But it's a very robust market with high growth rates, and it's a great time to be consolidating in this market, given the rapid growth in the market.
And on that note, the company has a very sound and very unique corporate structure and share structure as well. Why don't you tell everyone about it?
Yeah, so two things I want to touch on that are quite unique about us. Our share structure is extremely tight, so 42 million basic outstanding, approximately 32% insider owned, very low float. We've done that on purpose. The logic there is we're big shareholders in the business. We want to create value. We want to grow the business. We believe, dilution should be minimized at all times. So I think that makes us very unique. The second thing is we've got an amazing invention Control BioCloud that we just launched. We've got 4 patents, 3 in the US, 1 in Canada. It's a real-time air monitoring system, which also works for COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-2. And that's something that we've just rolled out, are getting into the market. And I think it gives us a really unique position in the building sector in terms of real-time air quality and viral monitoring.
Let's touch on that a little bit further here. As we get back to work and things start to resume, hopefully, eventually in this country anyways, after the pandemic, where's the application going to be primarily? Is it big cities, or where do you see this fitting in?
So if you think about how buildings are structured, we've got carbon monoxide detection, we've got fire safety. We believe the world has moved to real-time viral detection. And why is that? If we're going to go back to the spaces that we used to gather in mass quantity like we used to, so office buildings, venues, sporting events, mass travel, viral detection forms an important part of the overall ecosystem. We know that not everyone's going to be vaccinated. It's impossible to do that. So what other technologies could we deploy to keep society safe? And the way real-time viral detection works is we attach to either the air quality system that already exists, the HVAC system, or as a standalone basis, we're continuously sampling the air, looking for viruses and pathogens. So this is something that we do now where in practice, we sample the air, we take it back to a lab. Our technology automates that process by making it real-time and providing instant feedback wherever the technology is located. So we're very excited about the future potential of BioCloud and its applications. We mentioned the recent uplisting from the CSE to the NEO Exchange as of yesterday. You can check them out on the NEO Exchange as of today or yesterday. Guys, tell us a little bit about what investors and what the viewers can expect going forward with Control. Let's look, 6 months, 12 months down the road. So Control views itself as a high-growth technology company disrupting the building sector, which includes commercial, multi-res, and industrial. And our growth path since early 2016, where we started with approximately $1 million of revenue to today, we're going to continue to innovate, grow the business, and we are looking forward to a U.S. Senior listing following our Canadian senior listing. And we look forward to discussing that with you when it does happen. Paul Ghezzi, CEO of Control Technologies Corporation. A pleasure. This is a really interesting topic and, a sector I feel that is just in the beginning. So we look forward to an update in the future. Thanks for your time. Thank you. Good to speak with you today, guys. Control Technologies. Check them out. KNR on the NEO Exchange, guys.
It's just a couple of days trading on the NEO Exchange, and exciting when you get the uplisting in the U.S. I know a lot of people were maybe looking at it in the OTC markets when it gets that uplisting. There's actually better volume, I think, in the NEO Exchange for Control there. So another fantastic one. I mean, wow, it's been an exciting day. I actually want to make a guess. You probably went on the executions today, but I topped 100, which doesn't always happen for me. And there's a couple of names that we have. At least missed opportunities for me. I know Sean had a great long on IHT. I'm a little bit thankful that I never got the locates on it because the first couple of times at 5, it was a good short. Not so much this time, as that is now at 5. Well, it got to 587, up to 570. So it continues to be a runner, up 130%. I feel like IHT is going to be one to watch. And when we do the power hour, Sean, the way it's running here, who knows? Maybe it's at $7 by then.
Yes, sir. IHT. We had a good trade on that one, but yeah, I don't want to go short anything on IHT yet. Anyways, we'll see here. Okay, so Tilray, as we were gone, I put a note there just as the interview started. It was coming to the downside here, 1647 or so. So we talked about having that 48 sitting. Actually, it's 48. We talked about the price we had, so that was 48. We're still waiting for that 31 to come, but now we're almost flat on Tilray. So if that can come through, that'd be great. I do like the short to the upside, shorting it if it can get higher, 17 and then 17 and a quarter. We did talk about that one, but it's been a super exciting day. I mean, to review some of the trades, like this Beyond Meat 111 off the sticky note, what a great trade that was. Never really would have never gone against us really since that 111 break. So again, a lot of talk about Beyond Meat maybe not being the winner, but it was today, and it was a good one there. I can't be more happier with the Square trade that we had on board today, and anybody that was with us early in the morning had this, and then we doubled it up, and then we basically got, not the high of the day, but we're about $1 away from that. So I think that was a pretty good trade as well as we continue to review. Other than that, man, everything else is working. So there's nothing really else to talk about. AMD, we had a good out on that as well. I wanted to look at skills quickly. We just have a couple more minutes. We will talk about what day it is. Maybe it's Space Day. Oh, you took that Virgin Galactic. How did that turn out?
I shorted it, man.
Right.
So obviously it didn't work. No, it's worth showing because it looks like, I didn't make top wick. Oh, never mind. I thought maybe I'd made the top wick there and it reversed, but it actually got all the way to 20. So maybe I saved myself a little bit of money. The even dollar works out, and to 1988. It's actually coming back in here, but the trend is pretty nice to the upside. So I'll put a little smile on the face there that we didn't hold it to the absolute high. But every now and then it's going to happen to you anyways. Yeah. Virgin Galactic up 2.5%, so looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I only brought that up because I think. Well, we tweeted it out that it was National Space Day, so I don't know if that's actually going to be. Oh, we're going to use that as our national day, anyways. Okay, good job there, V. So that's why. And maybe I thought, not a bad idea to think that was going to go to the upside, but the short on that name, I think both of us prefer that until we get to some more comfortable levels. Especially you know what, Brendan? Before I throw back over to you, this DraftKings, man, this is why, honestly. If you're gonna watch the sticky note, we wrote it on the sticky note, stay away. And then I had a little smiley face there, and it had nothing to do with anything other than the fact that what the hell was it doing? I don't like the way DraftKings trades. Down another 5% today. This name, I'm an investor here, and I'm so glad that I'm an investor at a little bit lower prices. But the point is, when does DraftKings stop, guys? Your guess is as good as mine. It's just continued to pour down here. DraftKings on earnings, people thought might have been good. I guess not here. DraftKings, Brendan, down 5%. You don't have a trade on that today, do you, Bree?
Do not, but looks like a great short, so should have been looking at it. Let's have a look, guys, at some earnings. It's Friday, so typically not a heck of a lot after market tonight, but most of what you see is coming pre-market on Monday.
Pre-market on Monday, huh? Yeah, Workhorse, obviously, we talked about the EV space and how much my dislike for that space right now. So obviously, I wouldn't be super excited to be long on that. But, we saw Nikola today, right? So maybe there's something there. And then Marriott, I think right in the middle. She does a good job of putting off the big
What's his name? The stock father, I was going to say, here made a fantastic call with Marriott. And he's sort of talking about this one up. And up 2.5%. Rounding off here, but a strong move going into those earnings for sure. So that should be worth a watch going in next week. Workhorse, I don't know. I don't want to have a repeat of Nikola for me on Monday, right. But I'm not. It is what it is. We've seen what's happened with that stock a lot of times on bumps. I should always just stick to Tesla when I'm trading in the EV space. That's sort of always true, but I don't find a trade in Tesla every single day. And that's one of those things. Sometimes it's once every other week. You got to do what works for you. Clearly, I should have been one and done in DraftKings and I could have been up, but I just wanted to show you guys what LFT looks like, lost from the top. So I got a little bit. Thank you once again, DraftKings.
Yeah, we finished at the highest spot today, which is fine, but we do have this Tilray that is pending, but we're small on this Tilray. It did go back up. Good thing we took some of that out. Tilray now taking out highs again. So Miss V, are we ready for what day it is?
Of course, Sean. Shout out to Maggie for making this fun image. But before, guys, thank you very much for spending this trading week with us. We wish you a wonderful weekend. Please rest well for a productive Monday. But remember that we are going to be back today at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time to trade the close together. Well, happy National Space Day, everyone.
There it is.
The way I look at it is if I ever want to actually go up and float in space, I'll probably need permission of my wife at some point. So with that, there's something happening on Sunday as well. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there because we won't get a chance to say it. And of course, to my beautiful wife, you're absolutely fantastic. I'd like to go to space one day. I know it'll be safer in the future, so let me do it because it'll be a lot of fun. That's my rant.
Yep, and yeah, good one there. A space one day, I think it's going to be coming, and hopefully we are. Well, we're so young right now, right? So hopefully,
right.
by the time that happens, we're able to enjoy that. But yes, to my mother, who probably is watching, happy Mother's Day to you, and to my lovely wife, happy every day to you, because she knows what she means to me. But that's it, Brendan. Why don't you give a shout out?
My mother does not watch the show, so I mean, happy Mother's Day. But I know she's not watching.
Blair's too
Miss
busy there.
V, what time is it
It's
in
merch
Russia?
time, Miss V. There we go. Let's flash it off. Flash it off. There it is.
What are you not
Oh, she'd
on?
rather be trading. That's true. She would rather be trading.
I'd rather drop my microphone.
You want to say Happy Mother's Day in Russian there, V?
Дорогая мама, поздравляю тебя с Днем Матери. Я тебя очень сильно люблю.
Exactly.
There we go. That makes perfect sense to me, guys.
Absolute-
Neil, let's wrap this
absolute
puppy up. We'll see
perfection.
everybody at 3:15. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you
Neil.
got to come back at 3:15. You know Power Hour is going to be fire like the market is today for Miss V. That was fantastic. We all learned something there. Man, Sean Katina, for Brendan Wickens, and the awesome haircut. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you at the close.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.